And we're live. I'm gonna give it a couple seconds. Send out the tweet. Do this new Twitch post thing.
It should auto go from the live dash.
Yeah, well, I had to.
Live, it should auto post.
Oh, I had to post. I hit post to do it. Let me just send the tweet. Okay, sorry, I'm running a little late. It's been kind of a wacky day, but I've got V-Commandos here, which is a solitaire or co-op 1 to 4 player game where you, by yourself, which is what I'm going to do, or with some other people, are going to be commandos behind enemy lines in World War II's occupied Europe, doing, in some cases, wacky and otherwise secret missions. Hey, Kabuki Kid. Hey, James. Hey, Dalton. Tiff is doing good. I don't know. Can I say stuff? Yeah. Yeah, but Tiffany's gallbladder is no longer in her, and she is playing Mario Odyssey on the couch. I think that's probably best possible outcome. But yeah, she had that out this morning, so is. Okay, well yeah, I'll bring Tiff a laptop so she can hang in chat.
Until I pass out.
All right, Tiff is gonna be joining us in chat.
Oh no! Why do I have to be on video?
Oh, you don't have to. You can be regular. I guess you can just go to YouTube. Yes, this dice tray is pretty deep.
You only give me a laptop or something.
1 second. I need to give Tiff the power. Okay, back once again. Tiffany now has power and can join us in chat. And there is a fly which is going to fly in front of the stream lights and distract me. But never mind that. But yeah, we are playing V-Commandos. This is a game that I backed on Kickstarter. I think it was one of the last actual full game Kickstarters I backed a couple years ago. Partly just it sort of spoke to me as having played some older PC games and being interested in sort of interesting games that play well solitaire, where, kind of a game runs the system, as well as some older PC games like Commandos Behind Enemy Lines, which this is very evocative of, just, judging by the art. So the rough overview of the game is we are going to build, we're going to select an operation, and an operation is going to take place somewhere in the world and is going to have this layout of terrains, and each one of those terrains corresponds to one of these map layouts, and these map layouts are composed of these tiles, which are either large or small squares or rectangles. We're going to build a terrain. We're going to deploy our individual commandos, which each have a card like so and a token on the map. And then this GHQ counter tray full of Germans are going to be on the map and slowly enter the map every turn. We're going to try to be stealthy not trigger the alarm, do whatever the objectives are in the mission, and then move to the next terrain. The way there's operations, which are these terrains stuck together, and one of the really interesting things about this game is you can have two terrains simultaneously on the map that your commandos can move between, but are otherwise separate. Each of these giant squares are basically one area in terms of like movement or shooting and whatnot, and that really simplifies the rules for commanding, or for you as the player having to run the AI. I know I just played through the tutorial of the Star Wars Imperial Assault app, and it has some detailed rules for how you need to make the enemy's figures behave. So these are a lot simpler, and even though I've only played this a couple times, felt pretty simple in practice to do. So let me actually look in chat. Sorry, I've been chatting. Let's see. Hopefully I won't cheat too much of this. But yeah, hopefully I'll be playing Nemo's War next week on Tuesday is the plan. So I think because I'm a little rusty with this, there's a couple training missions in here, and I thought it might be helpful to teach the game while I'm playing through one of the training missions, and then hopefully that goes relatively quickly, and then we can jump over to one of the full missions. But yes, yeah, that is Tiff in chat. Cool. So I'm gonna switch to the overhead cam and then start teaching this game while going through the training mission, which I think is maybe going to make more sense because I can point stuff out, because I'm actually going to have to build a board to set up the game. And cool. Also, oh, you're going to have to help me out with the name. I'm drawing a blank. No, the dice tray. Jason Dinger was super sweet and sent us this lovely dice tray, which is, I guess I can show it off on this one, made out of wood, really just amazing, and has this felt inside and is very deep, and will be super awesome. So I'm hoping to use that with this spare camera, which I like to use the third camera, but to show off hopefully the die results in here, and hopefully those are going to be big enough. But yeah, thank you very much to Jason Dinger for sending us that, as well as these really sweet card holders, which are really fantastic. I think just because of angles they won't work super well for this game, but we shall see. All right. Let's see. I guess as a let me set up this training mission. Sorry for being slow. One of the things you're going to do when you're setting up a terrain is when you have a layout like this. Different things mean different things. So basically, if it's shaded, that means you're going to use one of the back sides of the tiles, or one of the sides of the tiles that's indoor. And if it's white, you're going to use one of these outdoor tiles. So I'm going to set up with this training mission layout. And this is just teaching you as the players how movement works and how triggering the alarm works. And hopefully I won't screw it up too much. An outdoor spot. One of the things I actually like about this is this game came with lots of tiles in just the base game. I think there were a couple bonus Kickstarter tiles, but because everything is just a small, medium, or large, indoor, outdoor, you can be somewhat creative and just make the layout however you want. Because all of the tiles have the same capabilities. You can always there's always 4 spots for people on a small tile, 8 on a medium, and then a lot more on a large. So I'm just doing this little slapdash, but I'm going to do these tiles in the middle here. here. And then yet another indoor here. Lots of really interesting tile floor patterns on these tiles. Not probably the easiest to see, but some of these tiles are going to have doors in between them. And for that, I'm going to use these door tokens, which can either be locked or unlocked. Let's see. Oh, should I get that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. And this being a training mission, it's not going to spawn lots and lots of enemies. Also, these are GHQ counter trays. I usually have a stack of them and add them to games, and it really helps just with war games or other games that have a lot of chits, just organizing counters. I think they're about $1 each. You can usually get 10 for 10 if you want to get them shipped to you, or some local stores have them. Let's see. I will put... Let's see, there's an enemy token here. This token is the alarm is off action. If it gets triggered by one of the commandos being visible, it'll change to the alarm is on action. All right, and I'll just explain these tiles or these people real fast. So each of these tiles represents one of your commandos. Your commandos can be in one of 4 states. And those states are, let's see if I can do this. This commando is stealthy right now. If I flip it over, actually I wonder if it'll be a little easier over here. Maybe, maybe not. But there's just a eyeball and an alarm symbol. That means the commando is visible and has set off an alarm. But there is a second tile for each commando, which has a small icon of the German uniform icon on it. So that's the tile you put on the board when they're in their German uniform. And then the other side is if they're wounded. There's a little stopwatch, which says you have until the end of their next turn to heal them or rescue them. Otherwise, they are out of the game. And all of these tokens correspond to the specific cards. So I've got the medic card, the sniper card, and the sapper card. Okay, so for this basic setup, we're trying to get all 3 commandos onto the tile with the alarm token, and the token must be silent at the end of the training mission. We can, in the game, when you're taking your turn, during the player phase, you can... each commando can perform 3 actions in whatever order they want. Most of the actions only take 1 action. I think there's 1 basic action that can take 2 of your 3 actions. And then there's a couple actions that take 0 actions. But for this, the only 3 actions we're going to have are moving, which is 1 action, moving stealthily onto an adjacent medium tile. Medium tiles are these ones that are a double wide rectangle. Small tiles are the single rectangles, and large tiles are these large ones. And then switching off an alarm also just costs 1 action. So we're basically just not gonna deal with things like shooting or enemy reinforcement or whatnot. So, and also because this is a training mission, the enemy is going to be unarmed. So if it spots you, it's just going to trigger the alarm. I guess so the major kind of important rules about this are stealth. So we're basically trying to focus on stealth here, but basically if a commando moves onto a moves non-stealthily, so moving is just one action onto one of these medium tiles, they become spotted. You know, somebody in a tower or somewhere spots them. If they move it all onto a large tile, they become spotted. And if they use a weapon that has a like a eyeball on it, basically if it's a weapon that's gonna make noise, so all those weapons are gonna be printed on their cards. I'll go over cards a little bit later, but basically there's spots for equipment, and then if there's a blue piece of equipment, that means it doesn't get used up when you use it, and if it's printed on the card, that means they always have it and you can't cover it up. So in this case, the sapper has a pistol, which makes the commando visible if it's fired and also sets off the alarm. There's also, if you take out an enemy, we'll draw a tile, and there's a chance that it'll spawn a spotted token, which again looks like that eyeball. And basically, if you find one of those on a tile that has an enemy unit, an enemy has spotted somebody get taken out, and you're spotted, and you become visible, the alarm gets triggered. And then also if you fail a stealth check. So that's what we're primarily going to be rolling dice in the dice tray for. You are going to roll a die either if you're I think entering or leaving a tile that has an enemy, and if that die roll is a 1 or a 2, and those are marked with an eyeball on it again, that's a failed stealth check. Yeah.
Did you zoom in over the phone?
Yeah. Should I zoom in more?
I zoomed in all the way.
I guess
You can't lower it. I don't even know when it gets in the shot. Or you can.
I mean, it's just about in the shot, but
I usually have it right on the board.
sorry if anybody just got a little seasick.
Hold on a minute. Well, that'll do it.
Okay, is that a little better?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay, it's in shot, but
From the other side. When you get to the other side of the table, look at the preview. Oh, you straighten it. The delay was bad. Don't touch it. It's good.
okay. Okay, so yeah, if a stealthy, sorry, okay, hopefully this is a little larger. If your commando moves onto a tile that has, if your commando moves onto a tile, your commando is stealthy and that tile has an enemy unit, you're going to roll 1 die for every enemy unit on that tile. Yeah, and if any of the dice are a 1 or a 2, they become visible. Okay, so let's jump into it. So the phases to the game, for each terrain in play, we're going to draw an event card, which we're not doing this turn, but there's a deck of event cards that are going to add bonuses. That's the event phase. The commando phase, each commando is going to take their actions. They have to take all 3, but we can activate them in any order. There's an exception, which is that if you have a special extra action token or you're taking a 0 cost action, you can do that in between actions of other commandos on their turn. The enemy phase, we're going to activate enemy units. First, they're going to reinforce onto the board, which we're not doing here. Then they're going to move. So they'll either move one whole tile closer to a visible commando, if possible, or they're going to move in the direction that an event card said. So, as an example, this event card would move all enemies south. So they'll move, and then they'll shoot at anybody they see. And then we'll just see if the game had a victory or a failure. If it's something that's round limited, you're just going to only draw... You're going to make a deck of only a certain number of event cards. Cool. All right. I guess let's jump into it. We've got our sapper over here, our sniper over here, and our medic over here.
Do they have names?
They actually, the base commandos don't have names, but there were some Kickstarter bonus ones with some kind of fantastic names, silly names in some cases. But there's Jamie Finlock, Aneke, Sergeant Bruno, that's a pretty fantastic name, and then Gander. Gander is a dog. And I have not played with the dog yet, but the dog is amazing. And then there's also Death Cheater, who apparently cheats death. Cool. Okay, so we're trying to get everybody to move onto the tile with the alarm token without triggering, without like failing a stealth check or being seen. Sorry, let me just double check something.
James wants to know why you aren't using the dog and the cheater.
James wonders why I'm not using the dog and the cheater. I probably should use the dog and the cheater in a future game. Sorry, there was something. Okay. So, I guess for the purposes of this, so I'm trying to figure this out, what to do here. All of these doors are open; they're not locked. That means we, if they were locked, we'd have to, shoot them to open them, which is noisy and bad. You can't move through walls where there is no door unless you're, I think, one of the classes can. They have a special ability. So in this case, this medic is going to have to go after this enemy. And I think, yeah, I think for this, they were making it pretty easy. The enemy's not moving at all. And figuring out the order that we're going to activate these in is somewhat important. Okay. Oh, okay. I think I'm figuring this out. So there's no door between these tiles. Our sapper is not going to be able to get back over here. The only commando that can reasonably turn off this alarm is going to be the sniper here. But because there's no door here, the sniper is going to have to move out here and then onto this tile. The sapper is going to have to move into the open, which is going to trigger the alarm. And then the medic here is going to have to pass a stealth check. Okay. All right. I think I figured this out. So let's activate these in order. So the sniper could move into this medium tile, but it would immediately trigger the alarm. And that's not good. So we're going to do 2 actions to move the sniper onto the medium tile. Sniper having 1 action left. So when you move onto a tile, you can move onto any of the spaces on the tile. You are just considered in that tile. If we're tracing line of sight for shooting or movement or anything, it's just tile by tile, which is a nice simplification. So that was 2 actions to move onto this tile, which says danger mines, so it's probably not a great tile to hang out on. That's just for flavor. And then we'll spend 1 action to move into this small room. Because there's no enemy here, I'm not going to be triggering a stealth check. So I guess then we will try with the medic. We'll try to move into this room. We don't have the ability to do close combat, but that is an action where if you hop into a tile with an enemy, you can take them out. But this training mission isn't allowing that, so we're just going to spend 1 action to move in here. Now, because we've moved onto a tile that has an enemy, we are going to need to make a stealth check. So we're going to take 1 die for every enemy, and if it's a 1 or a 2, we're going to flip to the visible side and trigger the alarm. And it is a 5.
Yeah, I have a question.
We passed it. Oh.
When you see the tag, that's me asking, or somebody asking a question?
Are these like SAS guys? So there's actually... Oh, if I see the tag. So all of these commandos are part... I guess they all hail from different backgrounds. And they all have a flag around their character. And I guess they're from all the many different allied countries. And then more if you count the expansion. So the sniper here is from Russia, so you can see the old USSR flag. The sapper is American and is doing his best square-jawed face impression. The medic is French. Gander the dog is appears to be British. I think the scout is Australian. The officer is British. And then the other ones are mostly other duplicates. Okay. So we passed our stealth check. So if this were the case, we would be able... We are still stealthy. Sorry, so we could do close combat with the enemy there. And close combat is always an automatic success. However, there is a chance when we pull equipment shits from the bag that they could be the spotted tile, and then any other enemy on that tile would spot. Of course, if there were 4 enemies here, or 4 characters, I wouldn't be able to move onto this tile because it's blocked. So there's faint circles on all of the tiles that show movement spots. So your best chance of success of doing one of these close combat attacks would be moving into a tile and rolling a 3 and up. So that succeeded. That was our 1 attack, or sorry, 1 action, and then we'll spend 1 action to move on to this other small tile, still stealthy. Okay, so now the fun one. Our sapper, being the brash lover of explosives that he is going to move from this interior out here into the large tile. And that immediately makes him visible. So we'll flip him over where there's the sight symbol and the alarm. And because there's that alarm symbol, we are going to flip that alarm token over. And I'm now realizing I didn't leave any actions for anybody else to turn the alarm off. So I guess it would have been the medic that would have been able to do it this turn if I had activated him first and the medic second. So that was silly because I can't use the medic's third action now. So we're now visible, and so that was one action. And then I'm going to move one action here onto the tile with the enemy. This enemy would reaction fire. If we were playing with the rest of the rules, any enemy, if you are a visible commando, any enemy on your current tile or on your destination tile is going to fire at you as you move between those two tiles. So this would be bad. The enemy would roll one die, and because we're on this small terrain, you always hit on a small terrain on a 4+ because it's tighter and everything. So that would be bad. That's not happening, but it would probably not be great for our sapper, which I kind of wish we had names. I kind of wish we had names for these folks. But yeah, if chat has any names for any of these characters, especially when we go and play the full mission, definitely open to that. Names are great. And then for the third action, we would move in here into the room with the alarm. Okay, so we didn't turn off the alarm by the end of this one turn. So what would happen is during the enemy reinforcement phase, which is the first part of the enemy phase, since we're done with the commando phase, each reinforcement point would disgorge a second enemy, and that would make things much worse for us. But I think enemy isn't going to do anything now. If they did, though, they would move towards the first... we would do reinforcement. All the enemies would move towards the closest visible commandos, and enemies can see through doors and windows. So they would be able to see these commandos and go in. They would shoot, so this enemy would shoot at the commandos in this room, and that would be bad. We would end the turn, check for victory, start the next turn, and the first thing we would probably do... Oh, actually, the other thing I should have done is when this enemy moved onto the... Or when the sapper moved onto the small tile, he should have been flipped to stealthy again. Because even though he could be seen, it's assumed he ducks behind a table or something else thematic. So as long as you just move onto a small tile, you are stealthy. But the alarm is still triggered until somebody turns it off. So at the beginning of this turn, one of these commandos would switch the alarm off. However, so the switching the alarm off is something that can actually only happen once for the whole terrain. So you only get one chance to screw up and set off the alarm to be able to turn it off again. The next time the alarm is on, it is going to be on the whole time. It's the trope where the bad guys go, must have been nothing, or whatever. That trick only works once. So that was... that was this basic first training mission. I'm just going to jump into the other two real quick. But yeah, that was, I guess, that was a good refresher for me. I didn't get a chance to... I was hoping to play through these before the stream, but today was a little crazy, and I was pretty tired. So I'll put that back. Drop the doors back. And then set up these tiles. So let's see, we're going to have... judging by this, we're going to have an indoor tile, an indoor tile, an indoor tile, and an indoor tile. Just going to reuse the same tiles. Then we'll do an outdoor tile. I like the little lettuce patch there. And then another medium outdoor tile. So another wrinkle here is oh, we named them?
Yeah, you asked whether you should check that.
Oh, and sorry, I'm bad at checking chat. Okay.
Kabuki's listed in.
Totes, Doug, and Levon. Okay. I think Poppins was also in the running. So I think if the scout ever makes it out, let's see, the scout is Poppins. The medic is Totes, because Totes is important. I feel like the sapper feels like Doug. I don't know. Maybe the sapper is Levon, and I think the sniper looks like a Doug. So Madam Sniper is Doug, Totes, Poppins, and Levon. All right.
You got the dog?
Hmm?
You have the dog?
Not in the training mission. I can pick the dog.
That's fine, that's fine.
You know. All right. So one thing is enemies are going to protect tokens if they are a basic enemy. There's also special enemies, and they're essentially the first enemy on a tile that has one of these tokens. So you signify that by having them, basically putting them over the corner of the token. So even if we're going to do other enemy movement and stuff, these enemies aren't going to move. This one is going to protect this TNT deployment spot because we're trying to deploy TNT, and this one is going to protect the alarm. We are also going to place these 2 trapdoors. Trapdoors are where you enter the missions. You can see they look like stairs. They're also blocked trapdoors which have 55-gallon drums on them, presumably rain barrels, to capture rainwater. So they're heavy enough that if your commando is underneath, they can't push them out. But you can use an action to, if you're on the surface, unblock them. We will throw down a couple doors. See a little door out into the garden. That is cute. Locked door there. Okay, and then we have our 5th character. So we're actually just gonna have, let's see, an officer and the sapper, or I guess an officer and a gentleman. Okay, this last officer is gonna need a name. All right, got the officer. Our sapper is going to get a piece of equipment, which is going to be TNT. I actually need an opaque container to put all of the equipment tiles in. So I'm actually going to use this handy tray. For this mission, it's restricted to only 2 types of tokens, but basically if I draw one, if I get one that's not one of the allowed ones, I'll just toss it out. And then we need an enemy reinforcement token here. That can go there. Okay, I think this is good. Okay, and then I just need to pick 5 cards for the event deck. Let's see. Close combat. Supposed to be the Lord my strength. Sixth Sense. Oops. Ah! Destroyed the map there. You lucky. Stukas. So that's 5. This is going to be the event deck. Put those cards to the side. We won't need those. Okay, so our objective is place a TNT tile on the tile containing the objective, and so this blue token is an objective tile. And one of the commandos are going to need to leave the terrain through the open trapdoor. hopefully both of them, not one. And then on the first game turn, we're going to enter through this terrain. One thing to note. Oh, interesting. So the officer actually does not so each of these cards actually has two sides with two different pieces of equipment. So the sapper on one side has this BAR weapon, the other side is this Colt. So it actually is going to start on the side with this BAR machine gun thing that rolls a bunch of dice. I'll get to shooting when we do it. And the officer actually does not have his silenced weapon that doesn't set off the alarm. So that's actually somewhat of a handicap. Okay. So we have a couple special actions on these. The sapper has a special action that costs 0 actions, which means it can do it not on its turn, but still during the commando phase, to place the 1 TNT charge, which is the only thing we have. And then the officer has 2 things that are once a turn, also cost 0 actions. Can pick up a +1 action token and give it to a commando on his terrain or himself. The +1 action tokens give the commando that has it the ability to spend it on that turn or any future turn to do any action that costs only 1, and it counts as a 0 cost action, which is just to give it that extra bonus that it can be done out of turn. I think it can actually even be done during any of the enemy steps. So that's a cool action. Or give a +1 die shooting bonus to a commando within shooting range or to himself. Shooting range is basically one tile in every direction that's either unblocked by a wall, so it's outdoors, or has a door that you can see through. Let me just double check. Line of sight rules are always so much fun. Oh, I guess, yeah, every adjacent tile that's not blocked by a wall or a locked door is line of sight. Okay. So for this, I know this is one of the things where they actually add a couple rules each time they suggest you do a training mission, so I know this is not the full rules each time we play, but yeah, we're going to have the event phase, the commando phase with all of our actions, and then this training mission has a couple extra restrictions. The enemy reinforcement is going to be abridged, basically. It's a simpler rules for it. And then as a special rule, any commando that gets injured is actually going to be out of the game, and we're actually not going to move. The enemy units aren't going to move, actually, in this, so that's going to make it a little easier. But yeah, we eliminate all commandos suffering an injury. All right, and I think that's it. The only 2 pieces of equipment we can draw if we take out an enemy are an MP40, which is going to give a little extra bit of dice when we're shooting, and a TNT charge token. And because we put 5 event cards into the deck, we're only going to have 5 cards to do this. Let's see. Oh, interesting. I had forgotten about this action. You can spend an action to pick up one of the +1 action tokens, which you can save for a future turn. One thing to notice is that the cards only have, each commando only has so many spots for both equipment and also for these +1 action tokens. So each of our commandos can only have a single +1 action token. If they do get injured, we're going to remove any if they're there, replacing it with an injured token, and then the injured tokens will stack up, and if a commando is entirely injured, they're knocked out. Yeah, when all of their tokens have these -1s is what they're going to get every time they get attacked. Yeah, I think that's it. One thing is, let's see, so new rules for this scenario. We have all the new types of commando actions. briefly, we can collect and drop equipment, which is a 0 cost. Blow up a TNT charge, which is a 0 cost. You can move stealthily onto a medium tile, which we could do before. Enter through a trapdoor, which is an action. Unblock a trapdoor, also an action. Just push the 55-gallon drum out of the way, super easy. Attack in close combat, which is that automatic success. Shoot, which is we're gonna roll dice equal to the number of dots on their weapon. I'll do that when we get to it. Use equipment, so that's gonna be dropping one of those charges in this case. Interact with an objective, which is going to be a special thing based on the terrain we're on, and then save an action. So 0 costs, yeah, they can be before or after an action performed by another commando. It can also be on your turn, or it can be before or after one of the enemy steps. So after or before all movement, all shooting, or all reinforcement. Let's see. If you are... One thing to note, if you are playing this co-op, there's a rule in there where if a decision needs to be made, it should be done by the player controlling the concerned commando to kind of prevent any alpha gaming in situations where it only affects one player. So there's also some basic guidelines on what to do for movement or shooting for enemies if the situation could be ambiguous. That's also relatively straightforward. Let's jump into it. Sorry, I haven't been checking chat very much. Okay. So, jumping back into this, actually playing the second training mission, we need to place a TNT charge on this tile. We have only one TNT charge, but if we take out these enemies, there's a chance we'll draw a new one. And then we have to leave through the trapdoor, and we have 5 turns to do it. So these are shuffled. Our commandos are off the terrain. We have Levon, and I think we still need a name for the officer, who might just be officer or skipper. I think he should be named Skipper. Okay. Let's see. One thing to note is that I think we're gonna need to shoot to get through that locked door. But you don't need to roll for it; it's automatic. So, but that is a problem because it's gonna set the alarm off right away, which I think is what they're forcing us to do. Yeah, okay, let's do it. So I think our only option is going to be to shoot the door and make noise and set the alarm off. Skippy. All right. Skippy is the suggested name for the officer. I'll go with that because yeah, Skipper is a sailor name. Although, and yeah, I think our officer maybe. Well, let's see. There is a. He's got an eye patch and a trident on his hat, so I don't know which branch that would mean he's potentially in. This game is a little hand wavy in terms of historical accuracy. It's more on the fun side, I guess, if you would consider this sort of thing fun. But yeah, I don't know which branch that the Red Beret. Maybe that's SAS. I'm not sure. But yeah, Skippy is a good name for the officer. Let's see. So our sapper with the TNT charge also has the better gun. Okay, so we'll do. Let's see. If we activate the officer, one action to jump onto the enter through the trapdoor, and just end up in this room. Second action to go into this room. Oof. Oh, actually, I forgot to do the event for this turn. It is Sixth Sense. One commando gets a +1 action token, so that actually might save our bacon here. One thing we could do is we could actually get everybody into this room before we have to shoot the door, and then probably take this commando out. or take this enemy out in close combat. One thing is that these enemies have a number of squares showing, which shows the amount of damage or the amount of dice they'd roll, and both of these enemies roll 2 dice. I guess let's give it to the sapper. The officer can, once a turn, give a +1 action token on his trainer himself. Let's do 1 action for the officer to move into that room, 1 action for this room. Oof. I could give us a +1 action token. See, that's the thing. So once we shoot this door open, that's going to open up line of sight. And then if we try to move onto this... Oh, and we'll be visible. So we're not going to be able to take that one out in close combat. So yeah, I don't think there's any other way to get through a locked door. So yeah, I think we have to go in guns blazing with this one. These are Kabuki asked if these are Nazis or Italian fascists. I guess this is just a training mission, so they might actually just be straw dummies. Although I guess, maybe they're hurling beanbags at us. But yeah, all of the missions in here, you're fighting the German army. I think in some of the other expansions, there was also, other branches of the other enemies and other Germans. But yeah, okay, so we moved onto here. We moved into here. It might be worth using that third action, or actually, you would get a +1 anyway. Give that to himself. He's done. And then the sapper, activating the sapper, first action to jump into the room, second action to jump into here. Oh, actually, yeah, that's the problem. So in the enemy reinforcement phase, we're going to get 1 additional enemy each time. So maybe we don't want to delay here. So we've done 1 action and 2 actions for the sapper. The officer hasn't activated, but we can use his +1 action token to shoot this door, which is going to make us visible. I think the V in V-Commandos is maybe victory. That was my best guess. One thing is Triton Noir is they're bilingual developers. I can't remember if they're in France or Canada, but actually this whole edition of the game that Triton Noir made was bilingual. So there were copies of the cards in both and rules in both English and French. So just for space reasons, I didn't keep all the French stuff, but actually all the retail locations you can get this game currently are in, I believe, France or Canada. And there's no US retail yet, but you can get it online from their web shop. I think V-Commandos maybe stands for victory, possibly, but I don't know. Okay, so could use the officer to shoot the locked door open, which is going to make him visible. Oh, sorry, using this +1 action token, which we did get earlier. Now, he can't do that once a turn special ability thing because it's not his activation yet, but we are using the once a turn special action to shoot open this door. So it's successful. We are visible, but we're the only one that's visible. Our compatriot over here is not, which I think is maybe what's going to save us. But yeah, that's... Okay, so we triggered the alarm by using our S&W Victory Revolver. The enemy reinforcement token is going to be flipped to this angry side. The alarm is going to be flipped to the angry side. Let's see. Okay, yeah. All right. So that's, I think, what was interesting. This commando is visible because he shot the door. This other one isn't. So the alarm is off. So we've used 2 actions from the sapper. So we can use the third actually to move stealthily onto this tile. Oh, no, we can't move stealthily onto the tile because moving stealthily takes 2 actions. And we only have 1 action left and a +1 action token, and you can't combine those into a 2 action. So I think we are just going to have to do the old-fashioned guns blazing, which is going to make us visible. But with this character, we're going to roll 3 dice. So to shoot, take our 3 dice. We look at the number for the terrain is a 3+. So any of these dice that are 3+, any one that's a 3+, will take this enemy out. Whoop. All right, 1 die flew out. We got a 2, a 6, and a 3. So if there were multiple enemies, we could divide these. Oops, that was a 6. Sorry, that wasn't cheating this time. So we could, do 1 to each enemy if we wanted. But so this enemy will be taken out. So we're going to randomly select one of these equipment tokens, although only an MP40 or a bomb token will work. So that was a grenade. That doesn't work. That was a spotted token. Those aren't a thing. Crowbar. I guess actually the way to do it is just take an MP40 and one of these. Okay, so it was another TNT charge. So it is a 0 action to collect or drop equipment. Anyway, so that was our 3rd action for the sapper. The alarm is still on. We can't move onto that tile stealthily. Oh, oops, and because we shot, we are going to be visible. I think our best option is to just move onto that tile with our +1, because that gets us closer. Yeah, let's do that. So I'll spend this +1, like it doesn't matter. And then since it's still this commando's activation, we can do the 0 action to pick up that TNT. So now we have 2 charges. Oh. Is the distribution the same for the MP40 and TNT? That is a good question. And I think because there's a bunch of them, it's roughly equal. Let's see, if I were to check... I think it was when I remember punching these a while ago. I think it was like 3 and 3. There is actually all right. It looks like there is slightly more. Yeah, 6 TNT, 4 MP40s. So good question. The distro is not the same, but I can just leave these in a pool now. Not like a literal pool. Okay, so our turns are over. Commando phase is over. We're gonna move to the enemy phase. We're just gonna do this abbreviated one for these rules. If the alarm was triggered during the enemy phase, which it is, we're going to put 2 enemy units on this tile. And they're always going to be, for this scenario, they're always going to be the ones that have 2 dots. You can tell art-wise, the enemies with 1 dot are holding a bolt-action rifle. The ones with 2 are holding submachine guns, and also pretty much they all have unique art. And then the ones with 3 dots are holding these larger, more menacing assault rifles. Those are the special enemies. Okay, so there are now 2 enemies hanging out in this little office-y area. And so before or after that reinforcement step, I could have used a +1 token. Okay, then the shooting step, they're going to shoot every visible commando within range. And you're actually going to roll all the dice for a single tile, and all of them are going to decide on a single tile. If there's more than 1 visible commando, or actually this is abbreviated, they're going to shoot every visible commando in range for this training scenario. So that's a little different from the normal rules. But, okay, so that was the end of the enemy phase. Now, both of these commandos are not stealthy, and the only ways to get stealthy again are either to move stealthily onto a medium tile or to move onto a small tile. You can't be stealthy again on the same tile you were at. And also, the alarm is still going. You can also use a German uniform to become stealthy again if there's no enemy units on your tile, which we don't have yet. Okay, so new event card is Stukas. Okay. 4 enemy movement step. A bomb hits 1 indoor tile with the trapdoor. Let's see. Flip the targeted tile to its outdoor side and add opened door tokens between all adjacent indoor tiles. Wow. I think this is a case where we would just decide what happened on that card. Yeah, there's not a whole lot of details on what all the event cards do, so I think we would basically just decide. Yeah, because there's several options, we'd basically decide what to do. Okay. So one of these tiles is going to get blown to its outdoor side, which could be in our favor. Okay, but that was the event phase. We're going to do the commando phase. Let's see, we have 3 actions for the sapper. So we can switch the alarm off, which we can, that's our only thing that we can do for this time, but that would be our first action. And then for our second action, we can move on to the small tile, and that's going to make us stealthy again. However, this officer is still visible. So it's our second action. And then our third action is we can go onto this tile. One thing also is because we activated the sapper first, this is maybe a bad idea because the officer could, on his turn, have given a +1 action to the sapper for the sapper to use on his turn. Although, actually, we can still do that and then use that for the sapper later. Yeah, Geneva makes the point, if anyone can recommend a solo game that's like this but not war-themed. And that's a good point, because I know games like this are definitely not to everybody's taste, and a lot of the problems can be boiled down to, being violent. I'd have to think, because the more abstract layouts like this lend themselves to some neat puzzle solving. I could see doing some kind of like a heist or a burglary game with these kind of stealth mechanics that was not so, fix problems with bullets. Okay, so that was our third action for the sapper. Sapper's done. The officer... Now, we could move stealthily onto this tile, but there's no enemies on the tile we're on or the one we're going to that are going to shoot using reaction fire. Let me just double check. Oh, interesting. So this is a good... stealthy commando who becomes visible by entering a tile with enemy units doesn't get the reaction fire. It's only when a visible commando enters or leaves train. So you get that 1 second where the exclamation points show up and everybody before they see you, but they don't start shooting right away. So we use one action to go onto this medium tile, another one to move onto the small tile, and that's going to make us stealthy again. Let's see, the third action to go onto this tile, still stealthy. Now, probably should give one of those +1 action tokens because we can do one every turn. So let's give one to the sapper because the sapper is the one that's going to have to place that TNT charge. So I think we're gold there. Just double check for... Okay. So I'm just checking for enemies within range or, yeah, on your tile or an adjacent tile, it looks like. Okay. So we'll end there. Enemy phase. Oh, I was checking for the alarm. Let's see, when the alarm gets switched off, yeah, so when the alarm gets switched off, we do turn this tile back to the single side, so only one enemy is going to come out. So first step is going to be the enemy reinforcement phase, where we're just going to place one enemy that's the 2-dot enemy onto this tile, because the alarm is not triggered during this phase. Then the enemy shooting step, they're going to shoot every visible commando within range. So if either of these commandos were visible, they would get shot by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, actually, this should have been 7. So that would be 8 dice. So that would probably be bad, and our commandos wouldn't make it. But because none of them are visible, that's fine. Okay, so enemy shooting step doesn't happen. And then we are not going to do the enemy movement step. And then we will go to the next phase. We've got 3 turns left. So this card is You Lucky. During this turn, any die roll resulting in a 1 can be re-rolled once by the commandos. Or I guess the commandos players or actions. Okay. So we need to get into this room. Yeah, Jenner, good point. I think there's definitely room for games like this. I think one that could come to mind, because I mentioned a heist theme, is maybe something like Burgle Brothers by Tim Flowers. Tim Flowers, I think. Fowlers? Tim Fowers? Where you are sending people through a building and trying to steal stuff. But I think the most that gets happen is you get caught by the guards and the game ends. But that could be something that's along these lines. And the computer game terms, well, no, maybe not. Okay, so we need to get in there and plant the TNT charge. Probably what we should do. So these tiles are all adjacent, or these three are adjacent to ours, or these two, sorry, and not blocked by a door. If we shoot into this tile, we can maybe take out some of these enemies that have been appearing, and then the sapper can get in there and place a charge. So one thing is that there's no restrictions on how many actions you can do each turn. You could just fire a whole bunch with your characters if you wanted to. Like you could, if you had 3 actions, you could just fire 3 times on your turn. Since we have 2 turns left, we could use this turn to attack some of the enemies with Levon. And then Skippy could go in. I realize maybe Skippy should have picked up that other charge. But actually, swapping gear is actually a 0 action. So what we could do is oh, I see. The sapper has a 0 cost placing a TNT charge. So the officer could do it, it just costs more. But I think for safety, let's see, I think you can do a 0 action when it's not your turn. So yeah, actually, so Levon could drop that TNT, and then even though it's not Skippy's turn, Skippy could pick it up. So it'll still cost an action for Skippy to use equipment. Okay, so that didn't cost any actions. I think... alright. I think Skippy should probably shoot into that room, which will make him visible, but hopefully it'll take some of these guys out. Alright, a 5, a 4, and a 2. For this room, because it's a medium room, 3+ is the success number. So that being 2 hits, that'll get 2 of the enemies. But it will flip Levon to the visible side. Okay, so that was 1 action. Second action, it probably makes sense to do the same thing. Oh, actually, the alarm is now triggered now permanently, because we can only switch it off once for this terrain. So roll again. We got 3 successes. We got 4, 4, and a 6. And that will take out these last 2 enemies. So we have... one of our 3 actions left. We have a +1 action, and for 0 we can place a TNT charge. And Skippy hasn't even activated. So, and we're visible anyway, but there's no enemies on the map, so we might even be able to just get out. So let's see if we did. We could move 1. See, this might not make sense, because with only 2 actions left... Well, maybe we can make it work, see? We could move in, place the TNT charge, and move back. And then Skippy could give him a +1 action, and then he could leave through the trapdoor. So let's do that. So Levon will move onto this medium terrain, place a TNT, which is going to get flipped to this red side. Now, green side tokens can be picked up, but red side tokens can't. They're like activated. That's also the case if you were using crowbar tiles to block entrances to the map. Okay, so we placed that. That's next to the, or on the same tile as the objective token. And actually, we don't even need to trigger it for this mission. But normally we would need to trigger it, which is a 0 action. So it was 1 to hop in there, 0 to place it, and then we're going to use our +1 action token to come back to this room. Levon's action is done. I'll probably just turn him sideways. So Skippy can unblock this trapdoor. Oh, I forgot to do the Stukas thing last turn, didn't I? That would have blown up this room. That would have blown up this room with an explosion, and there's rules for the explosions. Let me just double check, but they are not good. Yeah, I think it just blows up everything on the tile. Let's see, yeah, there's a powerful explosion as anything with that symbol. Yeah, I thought I... Oh, a TNT charge that blows up automatically eliminates the objectives, characters, and equipment tokens on this targeted tile. Characters eliminated this way don't drop equipment tokens. Trapdoors and triangular tokens stay in place. Okay. So, before the enemy movement step, I think on last turn, we would have blown up this tile, which I can't remember if our commandos were on or not. So, that was definitely cheating. We may not have... That was a mistake. But yeah, so Skippy, assuming we didn't do that and screw that up, Skippy unblocks this trapdoor tile. Gives, because it's once a turn, gives Levon the Sapper the +1 token as his second action, and then as his third action moves out of the map. And then Levon is going to use that +1 action, not being his turn, to move off the map. And the operation ends, I think when... Let's see, the operation fails if... So it doesn't necessarily succeed or end because we all left, but because we completed the objectives and we left the terrain. At least one commando got out the terrain through a trapdoor. It was a success. Okay, so second training mission done. Definitely messed that up with the Stuka's event card. Hard to remember to do those. They did mention in the rules, actually, for exactly this problem. If an event card is going to take place during the enemy reinforcement or movement step, place it under one of the entry tokens, which are these the truck things, so that you remember to do it. So because I didn't do that, that was what happened. Cool. All right. I guess if there's any questions or no questions, I'm going to jump on to the third and final training missions. And this one is going to add some new wrinkles. So let's see, we've got the scout in this operation, who is Poppins. And we're going to flip it to the side shown in this. We've got the officer, who is on the officer's Sten side, or the silenced weapon side. So that's Skippy. And then Doug, DUG, our sniper, is going to go there, and our sniper is going to start with a grenade, and Poppin is going to start with a crowbar. So the wrinkles that are added in this mission. So there's going to be more event cards. We're actually going to use all of them except a couple. So there's two types of objectives. There's ones that have this explosive symbol, so you need an explosion, actually something like the Stuka's card would do it, because I think you can... Or actually, no, Stuka's will only hit one with a trapdoor. Basically, there's ways you can cause explosions to blow up explosion tiles that aren't just with TNT. And then there's there's mission objectives that don't require an explosion. So they have the explosion symbol with an X through them. So this one, we have to discreetly sabotage the objective by spending an action on it. And if we blow it up, the mission will fail. So that's important. So these missions are things like gathering intelligence. And at least one of the commandos must leave the train through the open door. So this is the first mission where we're going to have someone with a silenced weapon. The first one that we're going to have a crowbar, and the crowbar can be used to get through locked doors. And then the first mission with grenades. Grenades have some special rules attached to them. And we're going to use all the weapons in the equipment, or all the things in the equipment reserves except for first aid kits, bombardment, and German uniforms. So no disguises in this mission. But we do have the ability to do a bunch of different things. Also, this is the first one where we have the risk of, if we take out an enemy, they can spot us. Good evening, Eric. If you're tuning in, we're doing a solo stream. Tiffany is passed out and or occasionally in chat. So I am playing through V-Commandos Solitaire. And as Kabuki pointed out earlier, taking these tiles out is going to increase the distribution chance that we will get these spotted tokens. If we take out an enemy, they may spot us. Or if we silently take out an enemy, there's a chance they'll spot us, I think, is the rule. 2 bombardment, 3 bombardment. Okay, I think we're good on those. Now we can put the map together. I love it when a map comes together. So let's retire some of these tiles and do a new layout. So we're gonna need 1 indoor tile. And again, we can choose what they are. They just need to be a large square indoor. So there's some sort of objective that we need to get that's indoors. Let's do this chess table. Maybe we're stealing a chess set with some hidden information in it. And we're doing a reinforcement icon there. And objective there. Let's see, an indoor, an outdoor, an outdoor, an outdoor, indoor, and we'll bring back the map room thing and put it there. We will put the alarm here, trapdoor here. Now we also now have the compass rose tile, so when we draw event cards, that's where we're going to do enemy movement. Another enemy reinforcement down here, some doors, and then a blocked trapdoor up in this corner. Unlocked door, unlocked door, locked door, unlocked door, unlocked door, and then a 2-dot enemy and a 2-dot enemy. so we're also going to be pulling tiles for the enemies for this, and it's going to be random if they come out, random which side they come out on. So I'm actually going to use the grizzled box for this. So this is another, in this training mission also, all commandos suffering an injury are eliminated. So the enemy reserve, we're going to do all the regular enemy unit tokens, which is, I think, 30-ish. And that includes some that, there's a couple special ones. Let's see if I can find one. But there are a couple. There's some special enemy tiles that have crowbars. Ah, there they are. Let's see. They count as regular enemies, right? Yep. The regular enemy units includes the ones with the sledgehammers. All of the 0 enemy tokens. So when a 0 enemy comes out, we're actually going to add a special unit into the reserve. And then 3 special enemies. And the remaining 7 special enemies are going to stay on the side of the board in a special group. So when we need to draw one, we're going to randomly draw it out of there, randomly determining the side too. Let's see, and then new special equipment that might happen in this. There's 2 new weapons that have more dice. They also have a special restriction, though, which is that because they overheat, only one commando can use them on a turn, which is basically you can't, I think this is to stop cheesing, you can't use the awesome weapon, drop it, and then the next character can pick it up, use it, drop it, because that, I assume that's something that came up in playtesting. It was very silly. So they said, for these weapons, which are awesome, you can't pass them around like hot potatoes. There's grenades, which I think are just 4 dice into the tile. Let's see, page 19. A grenade may hit any visible character on the targeted tile, including the commando who threw it. So if you roll 4 dice, if more of them are hits than can be enemies, the commando will take them. So don't fire it at your own tile unless it's very crowded, or unless you're stealthy, I guess. Which, interestingly, the grenade sets off the alarm. This is actually interesting. The grenade sets off the alarm, but doesn't have a visible icon, so it doesn't make you visible if you set it off. Got a TNT. Let's see what else. Oh, and the spotted token. So after eliminating an enemy unit stealthily on your tile or in adjacent ones, the commando is visible if the enemy is replaced by a spotted token, which we draw from here, and another enemy is present on the targeted tile. But if it isn't caused, then the token is discarded. Oh, and when we use tokens, they don't go back into the reserve, the equipment reserve. They just get discarded, and then they would only go back in once they've all been used. Let's see. I think that's it for this terrain. So we're trying to discreetly sabotage the objective, which is here, by spending 1 action. One action on the tile where it's located, and we have to not let it blow up. And one of the commandos must leave the terrain through an open door. So we are going to use, I think, pretty much all the rules here. Enemies are going to reinforce, then move and shoot. And I think that's, plus that and the equipment are the main changes that were added in this. All right. Okay, oh, and then we have to put the event deck together, which is all cards except some specific ones. Okay, so we take out... This is a little fiddly, but we take out double time. We take out... You think it can't get worse? That's probably good. We take out all is quiet. We take out what? White flag. Take out Ausschwarmen. Let's see. We take out 6 cards. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then we also take out... Take out your okay soldier. Alright. We took out our 6 cards. Yeah, I hope is I guess that cold snowstorm, has that hit the parts of the has it hit the parts of the East Coast yet? I hope everybody's staying warm. I know we've got a coworker out in Delaware who is probably getting pounded with snow. Yeah, we're lucky we didn't have a snowpocalypse this winter. I know there was that big storm last winter that just cut a huge swath across the states. But yeah, I guess the East Coast is getting that snowy storm. Let me just double check the rules for crowbars. Alright, you can use the crowbar in 2 ways. Force open a locked door. So by just using the equipment, it's a 1 action and it gets open. Or you can barricade an enemy entrance. So you will flip the crowbar over red side up, and then the enemies are basically going to stack up. And then I think roll dice to try to get through. Once 4 or more enemy units, those with sledgehammers count as 2 enemy units, are behind a barricaded enemy entrance. They kick it down, and then we discard the... crowbar. We can't barricade simple doors, only enemy entrances, though. Oh, whoops, I'm using the wrong side of the sniper. So this sniper starts with that grenade. Okay. Oof. Oh, I forgot an enemy entrance. More cheating. Okay, that's good if it's passed. Yeah, the crazy wind is pretty intense. Alrighty. Oh, I can move the medic and the sniper off there. Okay, so no uniforms, and if somebody's injured, they'll just be taken out, so I don't need the extra things. Okay, well, let's shuffle the event deck. Yeah, bomb cyclone. That's pretty evocative. Okay, I think the rest is coming off, and this game is... I'm remembering how this game works a little better. So we're going to draw an event card. Sixth Sense. One commando gets a +1 action token. Do we only... Okay, we only have 1 locked door in this mission. I was going to say the scout could get it. Oh, so the scout... So we have a couple special... We have a couple special actions. The scout, for 1 action, can stealthily move to a medium tile, which is awesome. And then for 2 actions can stealthily move to a large tile. So that could be pretty useful to get in this tile. On the officer on this new side, once a turn for 2 actions. When performing the shooting assault, when performing the shooting attack, all other commandos on his train may immediately perform 1 free shot as a 0 action. So, ooh, that's cool. Now the sniper, so the sniper rifle has a special rule. Or not that it has a special rule, but it's another weapon that has the exclamation point, but no eyeball. The idea is, I guess, the wearer is a master of camouflage, or the user is a master of camouflage. But for 2 actions, there's an unlimited range shot to target 1 enemy entrance on her terrain. If the shot is successful on a 3+, the reinforcement truck driver is eliminated. Do not draw enemy reinforcement for this entrance during the next enemy reinforcement step. So that is very useful. Okay, so who should get this? Let's see. Well, so we have to enter on this tile, and we have 2 routes. We have this route up and to the left. It's kind of a silly place for me to put a little guard gate. This route up and to the left through the locked door into that room, and then this route via this enemy through the outdoors into there. And that seems like that's the spot that we're going to want to exit. So let's just kick the AP up a notch. I think giving the +1 to the scout, I think that makes a lot of sense. Okay, so now we need to figure out the order we're going to activate. Let's see, Poppins, Skippy, and Doug in. So 1 enemy is going to come in each of these 3. We can hopefully block 1 with the sniper. Now, I think for the range, it says unlimited range, and I'm wondering if that means I wonder I think that just means anywhere on the terrain. It doesn't say anything about limiting it. Also, enemies are going to move north. So when we get to enemy movement, they'll move 1 tile north. Locked doors, of course, don't block enemies. But that enemy is going to stay put because they're guarding the objective, as is that one. And I believe if an enemy enters a tile with an unguarded objective, one of them will start guarding it. All right, let's move in here and do this. So the officer has that silenced weapon. So we could move 1 into this room, 1 into this tile, and shoot that enemy. Or we could stealthily take them out. Could also move the scout into here, use the sniper to take out that entrance, and then possibly get the scout into that room and spend an action. So we need to decide if we're going left or right, but we probably need to take out that enemy, because if we become visible, he will shoot. So let's move the officer 1 into here. First action. And Skippy, you can only shoot into adjacent tiles if they're unblocked. So Skippy cannot, shoot around corners. Skippy moves a second one into here. We're still stealthy because we haven't done anything and we're still on a small tile. and we haven't moved onto a tile that has an enemy. And then now we need to decide if we're going to shoot, which has a chance of failing, but lets us stay here, or if we're going to move on to the tile, which also has a chance of failing. But let's see, that was 2. Oh, but close combat takes an action. Yeah, so I think with our 2 dice we should attempt to shoot, because if we don't have a +1 token, and if we moved on stealthily, we would still be there stealthily, but we wouldn't be able to take them out. Of course, that would set us up for next turn if we pass the stealth check. Actually, that can't hurt. Let's move Skippy onto this tile and make a stealth check. So because we moved on, we're going to roll 1 die, and if it's a 1 or a 2, we are spotted. And it's a 4. We are not spotted. Kabuki says stealth it, so yeah, I agree. So we're stealthy. We don't have another action with which to do close combat. So the officer is activated. I will do the universal symbol of turning it a little bit sideways. And remember, enemies are going to move north this time, except for guarding ones. Yeah, so one thing that's interesting, it's quicker to go this way. So one thing that's interesting, so on the sniper card, it says Mosin Nagant, unlimited range shot to target 1 enemy entrance. But because the Mosin Nagant rifle has the alarm symbol, I think if we use that action, it would set off the alarm. Even though it's not on this action, but I think that would be an assumption. Otherwise, that ability is too good. So we probably shouldn't do the shoot the truck thing, because that would set the alarm off. So probably just moving in is going to be a good idea. So let's go 1, 2, and then maybe just hang out here. We can save an action. So for a 3rd action, we can save and get a +1. So Doug, or Doog, actually. Doog might be a better pronunciation. Doog has finished her turn. And then now Poppins, which is probably my favorite name, is the scout. Hey, Nervenstein. I've made it to training mission 3. So we succeeded in the other training missions. It's possible in the previous training mission that because I forgot to activate an event card, which involves Stukas blowing up an entire tile, we may have had the entire team wiped out. But it's a training mission, and that didn't quite happen. This mission added some new rules. Basically, the enemies are going to move and shoot, and we have some better equipment. So let's see. Now, one thing is, in the enemy phase, if they do move, I think they might possibly spot enemies when they move in. So let me just double check, because that would be bad. Yeah, no, I guess even if enemies move or reinforce into your token, if you're not visible, you're fine. Yeah, okay, so Poppins could just hang out in here. Yeah, we're trying to do this one stealthy. So Poppins is going to hop into this room. We're trying to steal these... sabotage this objective discreetly instead of blowing it up. So it was 1 action for Poppin, 2, And we can stealthily move to a medium tile, which is why we're using pop-ins for this. So that was our third action. And if we want to, and I think we should, for our fourth, we'll use this +1 token to use our crowbar, and because it's blue, that means we don't get rid of it, to unlock this door. Everybody has been activated. So now we do enemy phase stuff. So the alarm hasn't been triggered, luckily, because we're stealthing around. So we're going to do 1 enemy unit token on each tile in contact with an enemy entrance. So that'll be this tile, that tile, that tile. And we have our handy-dandy box. Ezio Poppins Auditore is Poppins' full name. So we draw a tile for this. It's a 2 dice. Draw one for this tile. It's a 2 dice. It's a submachine gun carrying soldier. And then for this tile, it's also a 2 dice. This one appears to have lost his helmet, which is ill-advised. So he's hopping in there. We could place them anywhere in the tile, but I'm just going to assume he's coming in just at the edge. Okay, that was the reinforcement phase. Movement phase. So we're going to move each enemy unit 1 tile towards the nearest visible commando, and that is visible anywhere on the map, not visible by them. But if there's no visible commando, in the direction at the bottom of the event card, so it's going to be north. Papa Poppins. Okay, so that was actually, I'd forgotten about that, but this enemy is actually going to move out of this tile that Poppins is in, not even realizing that Poppins is just crouching behind the desk here. And then this enemy is going to move into this room. So north was actually great. It's neat that you get an indication of the enemy movement before you plan your turn. And then the enemy group of enemy units shoots first at a visible commando on their own tile, otherwise on an adjacent tile containing a visible commando. And none of us are visible. So yeah, luckily Poppins was able to move onto this tile stealthily with only 1 action because it is a special thing. So the 4th phase is if we check for victory, but we haven't sabotaged the objective, so I'm just gonna, it's not in the rules, but I'm just, untapping all the units. All right. So that enemy can be taken out. And because there are no other enemies on this tile, we don't need to worry about taking him out and another one spotting and being taken out. So that's handy. Our sniper has a +1 action token. So Doug can actually go 1, 2, 3, and then use it to close combat that unit. However, she would trigger a stealth check on this unit. On this soldier who is looking suspiciously in the direction of Skippy. So Skippy, we should activate Skippy first. So Skippy will take this unit out. It might be useful actually to leave Skippy on the room with the alarm. No, Skippy's got the awesome weapon, so we probably shouldn't. So we will do close combat to take this unit out. Since this is just a training mission, probably just getting tapped on the shoulder. Maybe past like a Smirnoff Ice or something. So they go, I think they go back to the supply. I think they get discarded. Let me just double check. Yeah, it goes back. Oh, okay. It goes back in the enemy reserve. And then we randomly draw a token. It is a Sturmgewehr 44 assault rifle on this tile. So it was that was Skippy's first action. Now we could pick it up, but actually I think we're gonna let Duke pick it up. So that was action 1. let's see, we could go 2, and then 3 would put us there. You know, let's just move 2, and then take one of these +1 tokens. I think the last time I played this game, I didn't really realize the save in action, or at least I don't remember using it a lot, because that is really handy, because you can use it on this turn. Okay, so Skippy is activated. 1, 2, and then saving action. The Duke is now free to move into this space. We'll go 1. Pick up the Sturmgewehr 44 for 0. So it's 0. So then we go 2 to this tile. And so this is tricky. We're going to move into here. It's possible we'll fail the stealth check. But our officer buddy can actually still shoot through the window. So I'm glad I did that, because the officer will be able to save Duke's bacon. So we'll go 3, triggering a stealth check. And it's a 6. We are still stealthy. So then we can use this +1 action token to tap this buddy on the shoulder. He goes back to the enemy reserve. And we are good. The Duke has activated. So let me just double check. If an enemy is guarding a tile, can I still interact with it? And I believe the answer is yes. I think we're good. I think Poppins can actually just... Oh, right, because Poppins can stealthily move onto a large tile. And then he won't be spotted by the new enemies reinforcing. Because we're not going to be doing anything... We're not going to be doing anything nasty, so... I think we're okay. Oh, but we're gonna have to roll 3 dice to not get spotted doing this. Let's see. We'll roll 3 dice, having to get a 3+ on all of them. And then we don't have anybody to save our bacon. However, if we don't do that this round, there will be a new enemy here, here, and here. So we'll double our enemy count on this map if this fails. And actually, because Skippy moved off the alarm, if Poppins triggers the alarm, we'll get even more enemies flooding in during the reinforcement phase. So this seems like a good case. This seems like a good case for waiting, because nobody is around to save bacon. Oh, the officer's action. I wasn't thinking of this. When performing the shooting attack, all other commandos on his terrain may immediately perform 1 free shot. That's on his terrain. I thought it was on his tile. So actually, when the officer takes that action, everybody would be able to shoot. You know, I think what we should do is Poppins should save an action, and we should wait for next turn. Oh, you know, did I not draw? I did not draw an event for this turn. Oof. Okay, well, luckily this didn't matter, but yeah, I did forget the event phase this round. Long way around. Place back up to 4 enemy unit tokens currently on the table that are blocked behind and barricaded enemy entrance or because the tile was full in their reserve. So if one of these was barricaded... Oh, I've used my crowbar, so I can barricade this. So actually, hold on. Skippy is going to... use the crowbar to barricade this entrance. as one action. And then save that +1 as the second. Okay. That's good. Okay, so this reinforcement location is blocked, so it'll take up to 4 enemies to get through. That was a good thing to catch. Okay. But yeah, so any of those extra enemies, or if a tile was completely full, the enemies would stack up outside. They would go back to the reserve. So that didn't apply, and enemies are still moving north this round. So we'll do reinforcement. This one, this commando phase is over. Poppin's activated. Ooh, that's a sledgehammer enemy. So this will count as 2 towards blocking that off, or unblocking that. Ooh, a sledgehammer enemy that has 2 dice is on this one. 2 dice in an attack. That's not great. And then in a 2 dice enemy on this one. So that was reinforcement. Nobody's visible yet because the stuff has not hit the fan. Oh yes, Nervenstein, the enemies are going to come through the top. Oh, right. Good catch. Yep. That was cheating. They do actually come through both of those doors. But they don't trigger any visibility or anything because we're still stealthy, so that's lucky. Okay, so 1 each. We're going to move each enemy unit 1 tile towards the nearest visible commando or in the direction indicated. So these will all stay because that's as north as they'll go. And then this enemy will move into the same tile as Doog. Yeah, I guess we're still stealthy. So this is dangerous, but not that bad. Yeah, that's gonna get unbarricaded. And then no shooting will happen because nobody's busy. Okay, now we actually do the event phase. Oh yeah, it's because, right. That one's barricaded, but yeah, I totally forgot to undo those. Okay, this event is stand down. During the enemy reinforcement step, if the alarm is silent, replace the first special enemy unit entering by a randomly drawn regular unit. Okay, so if we do get a special enemy, which there's only 3 in the reserve right now, but that will increase as we draw these 0 tokens, we'll replace it with a regular enemy unit. So that's helpful. And enemies are going to move west, which doesn't super affect a whole lot, except that means that enemy would go there. Okay, everybody is unactivated. Let's see. So if we activate Poppins first, Poppins may fail the stealth check and become visible, but Poppins won't trigger reaction fire unless Poppins moves out of this tile, in which case all 4 Germans would shoot at Poppins. So probably what we want to do is get get our other troops in position, move Poppins in, and then if it doesn't work, shoot. Now that's the thing, our sniper does have that grenade, and the grenade could take out everybody in this room. If Poppins moves in there, it could take out Poppins too. So I think it might be best not to use the grenade while Poppins is in the room. I'm going to throw that out there. But okay, so let's move Skippy and take out this feller in close combat. So let's move onto this tile. So 1 action. And we're going to make a stealth check. It is a 1. We are spotted for the first time. Okay. So we are spotted. And the alarm triggers. And now all these spots are going to spawn 2 enemies. And now everybody's going to shoot at our officer. Oof. And we can no longer do a close combat attack because we're not stealthy. So probably we will use, I guess the only thing we have is the silence weapon because it still has action. So it was 1 to move in there. Let's use 1 to shoot. 4 and a 6. So that's 2 hits. When you're shooting, you don't hit your own people. It says in the rules because you're highly trained. So we'll shoot this fellow. You know, knocking him out in the training because it's just an exercise. Goes back in the reserve. We're still visible, but the weapon didn't affect that. And now the only way we can get invisible again is by moving onto a small tile, stealthily onto a medium tile, or do a uniform. But let's see, that was 2 actions because it was 1, 2, 3. I think is we're going to unblock this trap door so we can get the heck out of here. And I think we're going to pause there so we can use our +1 attack. So now is maybe the time that Poppins. Yeah, I guess they don't give you a melee attack, presumably, I guess because you're visible, and because these are still reasonable sized rooms. But yeah, they don't let you do a melee attack if you've been spotted. Although actually, your compatriots could. So if the sniper had a +1 token, or if I waited until it was her turn, she could have done the close combat attack. So that actually would have been a great use of a +1 token, not on her turn. Is before moving Skippy in there, is doing a close combat attack and then moving Skippy in. So it's maybe a little riskier than it needed to be, but we need both of them there for when Poppins tries to stealthily move onto a large tile. Okay, so that was 2 actions. Oh, so Skippy's done. And we are going to roll 4 dice, trying to not roll a 1 or a 2, which are really not great odds, but let's see what happens. 1, 2, 6, 6. So we were spotted twice. Okay, so we're visible. The alarm is still clanging anyway. So that didn't work. That was his first action. Or sorry, that was 2 actions. It's a little silly, but I think we should spend 1 action on the tile that we're at to interact with the objective, because there's no rules that say dogs can't play basketball, and there's no rules that say we can't interact with an objective when we're visible. Yeah, alright. So we use our 3rd action to interact with this objective, removing it from the map. And now we still have our +1. And we're spotted. But Skippy still has his +1 token, and our sniper picked up that rifle, which can roll 3 dice at a time. And Doog has all 3 actions, so alright, so I guess Poppins is activated, and we're going to start on Doog's activation. So the first shot is going to make her visible and set off the alarm, but hey, it's already been set off. So we're looking for... Oh, on a large tile, it's 2+. I had forgotten about that. But yeah, it is. Attacks are much easier to hit if you're on a large tile. So if we don't save Poppins as bacon, Poppins is going to get 8 dice rolled that all hit on a 2+. And in this training mission, any injury is going to end the mission. I had forgotten about that too. So we'll roll the 3 dice for Doog's first action. It is a 2, 3, 3, and that's going to take out 3 enemies. Back to the reserves with you. We might as well do a second action I definitely shouldn't use the grenade here. So we'll roll the second one. 4, 5, and a 6. So that'll get this last enemy back to the reserve. That was the sniper's second action. And then, actually, I'm feeling pretty good here. I think the third action could be to just leave through the trapdoor. That was quite an exit. And then Skippy, we can use the +1 to also leave through the trapdoor. And then Poppins, we can move back into that room, making Poppins invisible again. Okay. Commando phase. Oh, that used the +1 token. Commando phase is over. And we would do the reinforcement moving and shooting phase. And I think do they all need to be off, or do we just need one of them to have gotten out? Yeah, at least one commando got out the last terrain alive through a trapdoor, and all objectives of all terrains have been completed. I would think that everybody needs to get out, but maybe not. A terrain is completed once its last objective is completed and no commando remains on that terrain. They left the terrain using a trapdoor or have been eliminated. So what would happen, enemies are going to show up on all these tiles. They would move west. They wouldn't shoot because Poppins is stealthy, and then as his first action, Poppins would move out. So for that, I guess if I went through the motions, we would do a reinforcement step, which is going to be 2 enemies on each of these terrains. So one of these is a single die. They're double-sided, 1 and 2 dice enemies, rifle or submachine gun. I'll grab 2 tiles for here. Oops, I got 3. So one is a single die. The other one is this no token. So we actually remove that from the game and then place one of these special enemies from the reserve. From the special reserve into the regular reserve. And then this last one, we do 2 more. It's the same thing. It's another no. And then we put another special enemy in there. Actually, should be one of these. The Kickstarter actually gives you an extra set of... an extra, differently uniformed set of enemies. You just have to make sure to keep them separate. So this barricade would actually go down because this enemy counts as 2. Oh no, sorry, it's 4 enemies, not dice. So this barricade held. All the enemies move west, which is not possible. Then they would shoot, which wouldn't happen. Turn would end. Then we do an event. It's jammed. During this turn, first commando's shooting die roll resulting 1 jams his weapon. The shot is canceled and the weapon can't shoot until his next turn. That is not a great card to get, but I don't think we've rolled any 1s for shooting yet. Or maybe we have, but anyway, we're not going to shoot because the first thing first thing Poppins is going to do is leave. Are the enemy chits plastic? No, I'm actually just kind of slamming them down. They're a pretty decently sized chipboard. And I guess they have a pretty solid coating, but they're and they're pretty rigid, so it might just be the coating and the tile and the fact that the microphone is pretty close to it. Okay, so that was all 3 training missions. We've been going for about 2 hours. I was thinking it might be nice to actually run through one of the full missions. If you would like to stick around for that, more than welcome to. But yeah, because we went through the trainings, and that was almost all the rules, but we still have the rules for the operations, and I do want to show those off, as I think those are pretty neat. So I guess I will just quickly clean up here. But yeah, I guess if folks have any other questions, and thank you also for catching me on a couple of the mishaps. Let's see. All right, Kabuki is in. Take the doors off. And so I might go through some of the operations and ask what folks are interested in seeing. Let's see. They can actually stay there. Trapdoors go back. That goes back. That goes back. Enemy goes back in. And then I'm going to pull... I'm going to pull the special enemies out so I can keep track of them, as well as these zeros, just in case we do a more interesting setup. There should be 10 specials. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, there's one hiding in there. The special enemies have these solid black rings around them, while the other ones have the German cross. All right. Set that off to the side. Set the zeros out. Okay, so for operations, they recommend using the green operation as the first one you start. I think because it's just one terrain. So that seems like it could be reasonable. And let's see, what time is it? What time is it over there for you, Angela? I'm always bad at time. I always figure it's about 8 hours behind, 7 to 8. I always think of it as being like 8 hours behind, but the next day. So that probably means it's like 1 or 2. All right, yeah, 1 a.m. 1 a.m. East Coast. Let's do that terrain. All right, I actually feel somewhat like I have a handle on playing this now. The training missions helped. And then going through it definitely helps do SF. Okay, so let's see. Operation Green. Let's see. Operation Green takes place in Jersey. So, after long months of training for survival and combat, the new commandos are eager for action. The Isle of Jersey, near the British shores, is occupied by the Germans. Although weakly defended, it could host secret operations and valuable intelligence. This is your chance. First fire. Create panic among the enemy forces and gather intelligence about their projects in the region. Okay. So, 4 p.m. Friday. Cool. 4 p.m. Friday down under. So this has a thing where if there's a special V icon in Operation Setup, that means if you're playing on the veteran difficulty only. So it reminds you that the special rule is only for... There are special rules on the back of these operation cards, but they are only for veteran difficulty. Oh, and I totally forgot that... or I don't even realize the operations have the rough time that the game thinks they would take in the corner. So that says this one would take 45 minutes. The other ones are, let's see, hour and a half. Black tea in Norway is 2 hours. Grill in Poland is 2 hours. Snowflake in Norway is 2 hours, 30 minutes. Wipe in Germany is 3.5 hours. Operation Starter in Germany, which is a Kickstarter one, is 2 hours. Operation Silence in France, 2.5 hours. Celsius in France is 3 hours. Another Kickstarter. I didn't realize how many Kickstarter ones there is. Shooting Star in France is 3 hours. Helmet in Austria is 2 hours, and then Freya in Germany is another Kickstarter one that's 3 hours. So, yeah, let's do the 45 minutes one. I think. Also, it's supposed to be a good first one. One thing is, I will show off some of the other operations. So Freya in Germany, you get 2 cards. So one has the flavor, and then there's the map on this side. But then when you flip both over, it's what you need for gameplay. So when you're on a terrain, so we would play the first mission, which here is Church. Then any commando that exits can head either to Hotel Deluxe, which is a different terrain, or Forest Road. And then there's a slightly different icon that basically says any commando on Hotel Deluxe or Forest Road when exiting could exit into the fuel depot. And then there's some extra rules for setting it up down here. Now, the lost Operation Time Pencil over there. The actual map cards themselves, so for example, for Operation Freya, you would go through this, and so Barracks is the one we need for Operation Green, I think. Yeah, that's Barracks. So we're going to use Barracks. And then one of the, it's a little, I think it was a nice touch. Each of these terrain cards, which has the terrain set up for the mission, when you flip it over, when you complete the terrain, it has some art of, you know, what would happen if the mission was completed or the terrain was completed. So for this, you know, coastal sea battery, the art on the back is of the battery having blown up. This one for the battleship is sinking. The blockhouse is blown up. You know, the bridges are blown up. And then this one, there's a cable car map, which I think was a Kickstarter one. There's a piece of cable car terrain, and then you're actually taking the cable car, going to an underground base, and then when you're done with the mission, you play the cable car map in reverse. So you have to take the cable car from the one side of the mountain back to the other. And then, yeah, the art on the back is your commandos hanging out, and the your commandos hanging out on top of the cable car actually as it goes across. Yeah, so I haven't yet done one of these multi-operation things. I think also when the commandos go through trapdoors, they can actually reappear. Oh, I see. So that symbol, if 2 terrain cards are linked by that symbol to another terrain, you must complete both of those terrains to access the next terrain. But your commandos could still go, for example, between the Hotel Deluxe and the Forest Road by going in and out of the trapdoors. It's just when you go out of a trapdoor, you can't re-enter until your next turn because you're, you know, going through secret tunnels, because there's secret tunnels everywhere. But yeah, the yeah, so you can enter an open trapdoor in any terrain. Okay, so I'll put these operation ones back. And then this one, we can actually choose the commandos that we want. The rules for the dog. So the dog has some tricky actions. I don't want to play with the dog when I'm not good at the game, because I don't want to mess that up. But let's see. So another thing is that there are the maps all have this icon for a number of commandos on them. So this one, the barracks, has 4. But some of the train cards have a lot less. Like the battery has 2. I think they all have 2 to 4. And actually, the streets, this one has 1. So there's another rule that actually you actually trigger the I believe the alarm gets triggered if there are more commandos on a terrain than the terrain can support. So I think that balances some of these like multi-operation things by saying, okay, you could send all of your commandos to the Hotel Deluxe, but once there are more than 2, it'll trigger the alarm. So let's set up the barracks terrain. I remember failing this one pretty good when I played before. Okay. So there are 3 documents that we need to get using a 0 action on each of these objective tiles. So we'll say that there's one hanging out in the half track. Oh, and there's a machine gun nest on this. Let's see, we'll put the guardhouse here. Put a little storeroom there. And maybe pick something that looks like a barracks. I think this tile has potential. It's a bunch of lockers and helmets. That's the last medium we're going to need. And then some outdoor tiles. Can't go wrong with some like equipment stuff. Let's give them a garden. Gotta hang out at the garden. And then maybe put some ammo crate things here because we're going to put a machine gun there. And then the inside, let's see, let's do a cot type thing there. Kitchen over here. Oh, there's the cable car tile with some skis in it. The Kickstarter tile. And then let's do the little rec room that's got a game of chess going. Alrighty. And then for tiles we're going to put oh, interestingly, all the tiles actually have a cutout in case you need to put the machine gun tile on them. So this one's actually going to go, it's going to go there. Oh, and this actually says what we need. So we're going to need three entry tokens. One over here in the kitchen. One over here. One over here by the half track. 7 locked and unlocked doors. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So unlocked door, unlocked door, unlocked door, locked door, unlocked door, unlocked door, locked door. 3 objectives. We will all put them on the don't blow it up side. Don't blow it up. Yeah, don't blow it up. And then 1 alarm. It's going to be up here in the garden. And then machine gun, and then the trapdoor. Alright, pick up the 3 documents, 0 action on each thing, and leave the terrain. Yeah, the gunner tile does look like pretty bad dentures. Okay. Oh, and then we'll put the little compass rose there. So if we're just using the base character tiles, which is something I like to do in games that end up with a bunch of expansions, especially Kickstarter expansions. It gives us the barracks gives us up to 4 commandos without triggering. So while we could bring everybody, that would definitely trigger the alarm. And we are going to be able to use, you know, German uniforms and stuff for this. So one way to keep them straight, at least in the base game, they all have the same flag around them. So you can kind of group them by flag. I think Poppins, I'm not sure which flag this is. Maybe Australia or New Zealand. Yeah, I don't think they actually have. Yeah, they totally don't have character bios in the rulebook. That's a bummer. But yeah, that's his tile. Then we have the sniper from Russia, and then the French medic. So, and then when you choose a character, you can choose either tile. So, for example, the scout. If you can see they also have extra room for equipment. If we give the scout less equipment and a less good of a gun, he can do this special passive action through walls. When performing any moving action, may sneak through a wall without a door. And given how many walls there are on this map, that seems amazing. Let's see, what are our other choices? So a medic, so we're no longer in the training, you know, if anything injures you, the mission ends. We can actually take wounds now. So we can either give the medic the silence weapon and 1 less medkit, or 2 medkits. That could be useful. Let's see. We're not blowing anything. Oh, these are supposed to be on the don't blow it up side. I always get those mixed up. The TNT charge could be useful, even though we're not blowing up objectives, because it you remove all characters on the terrain. However, maybe we would want him on the side with the better weapons. I don't know. It depends if we want to go stealthy or not. Wow. The sniper has 2 choices. One is a long-range shot at any outdoor tile on her terrain, and there's a lot of outdoor tiles on this terrain, so that seems like a good choice. And then the officer can either give action tokens and has a loud pistol, or has the silence weapon and nothing else. But being stealthy seems good. I like the idea of having the stealthy weapon on the medic and the officer. So that would be Skippy, Totes, the French medic, Poppins, the scout, and then Doog, the sniper. Because, yeah, Doog can go, yeah, any outdoor tile on her terrain. That just seems too useful to pass up. So I think maybe on the mission we don't need to blow anything up. We don't need to take the character who is very good at and probably enjoys blowing things up. Yeah. Stealth seems like a plan. Maybe we can get in and get out, you know, somewhat more carefully. So we'll put Levon back in the box. There's our medic. There's Poppins. There's Skippy. And there's Doog. Okay, and anybody gets starting equipment. Poppins is going to get this crowbar. which I guess he can go through doors and then walls, or no, yeah, he can go through walls and then I guess he's going through ventilation things and windows and stuff. And then we're going to give a med kit. Oh right, we need to add all of these back into the supply. And we're going to give a med kit. So yeah, that's the only starting equipment you start with. Is just what's on their cards. And there's no time limit. Now there are new and interesting ways to lose. So let's see. I guess I should probably go into injuries and stuff a little bit, but basically we fail if all the commandos are eliminated. There's not enough tokens left in the enemy reserve to place all the enemy units needed, which, yeah, there's a lot in there, and there's a lot of space. That probably what happened. Or if there's a failure condition on a terrain card, for example, we ran out of time, or we blew up an objective that shouldn't have been blown up. So yeah, we selected our commandos. Commando is eliminated. Oh, so they go critical if they have -1 injury tokens on all of their spots. Now, if you have a -1 injury token, that also means that you get 1 less action. And all commandos start with 3 actions, and then once they're completely covered up, they're critical, which means they can only take 0 cost actions, which are only blowing up a TNT charge or collecting or dropping equipment. So that's not great. They're also eliminated if you're on a tile hit by an explosion, which is not great. Or if there was some special operation role, for example, the underground base can collapse. So yeah, the only thing you can do is you can heal them. Yeah, they get healed by another commando. Medkits, I think, replace, or they remove all the injured tokens, but we're only starting with 1, and we'd have to hopefully pick other ones up. And if nobody comes to the rescue of a critical commando by the end of the next game turn. So I guess you have 1, they get injured, you have 1 full turn to do it. They're eliminated. So, but if you're doing one of these multi-operation things, if a commando is eliminated, you can take another character and cycle them in. But that's for future terrains, not the current one. So basically, you can, if you are playing a multiplayer game, you could still have enough characters for everybody, even if some were eliminated. Let's see, we set everything up. There are no starting enemy units, so that's... Oh, okay. So we do have to actually place some starting enemy units. So we did that. We did the tokens out. We placed starting enemy units. So place 1 regular enemy unit with the MP40, which is the submachine gun with 2 dots, on every triangular token. So one of them is going to be on the machine gun space, where to attack them you actually need a 5+. If one of us were to use it, it would set off the alarm, and they roll 4 dice. We'll have 1 defending that objective, 1 defending the alarm, 1 defending that objective, and 1 over here in the kitchen. We are using all the event cards this time. All the equipment tokens are there. The special enemies, by default, we put 3 in the container, and then we put all of these zeros in. And then when we draw a 0, it does get removed, I think. Yeah, permanently removed. Okay, those are in there. We set it up. We're doing standard difficulty. Operation cards are placed. The new equipment here. The powerful weapons can only be used by 1 commando. They can't get past. Bombardment targets an outdoor token. If we have it, it'll hit any visible character. It's basically a grenade, but you can target any outdoor tile. German uniform lets being stealthy regardless of what size of tile you're on, so that can save your bacon. And then first aid kit removes all -1 tokens. Okay, I think that's it. Oh, Nervensai says it's the old Canadian flag is on Poppins, our scout. So the scout is Canadian. Thank you for mentioning that. That's awesome. I was curious about that. Chad asked, are we using a couple of C920 webcams for the stream? We actually are using 2 C920s. So this is a C920 and this is a C920. And then that webcam that we use for the big shots is it's whichever their 4K camera was. So it was kind of their newer camera. But yeah, these ones were our C920s. Which actually, Tiffany's old laptop, before it gave off the ghost, actually could not power the 4K webcam and any other cameras at the same time without, overheating and dropping frames. So luckily the new webcam can do 2 C920s and the 4K for the new computer, but that's definitely just because it's a newer computer with faster stuff. Okay. Let us do it. Oops, I'm just knocking the train all over the place. All right. Everybody is currently off the terrain, and first event card, take them out. Any +1 action token may be used to shoot. Oh, take them out. A German, there's flavor on these. A German recon sidecar goes through the terrain. Any +1 action token may be used to shoot, 3+ to eliminate it. Should all shots fail, every commando on an outdoor tile without a German uniform must perform a stealth check. That's not great. But actually, nobody is on an outdoor tile, and we don't have any +1 action tokens. So I think that's fine, because I think that was like an event that just... Oh, I should put it up here. I think that was an event that just happened. Just happened right then. Okay, but enemies are going to move south, except for ones protecting triangular tiles. All right, commando turn. So what do we need to do here? We do have an unlimited number of turns, but we are going to get... if the alarm... Oh, you know what? I'm just going to bump that down slightly. If the alarm doesn't go off, we're going to get 3 enemies a turn, so we don't want to stick around forever. I think I remember going a little too slowly on this one, and it wasn't great. So this we can do pretty quickly. Our sniper will set the alarm off, but can do a shot on any outdoor tiles. That could be helpful. Notably, we can't get to this directly, except for Poppins. Poppins could actually sneak onto this tile and do it. And that is actually going to be the toughest one to get to. And the toughest one to get out of. So let's see. Call it 1, 2. Wait. And then we can do a stealth check next turn, or we could just do 1, 2, 3 and risk it and just be on there. I think that sounds like a good idea. Let's send Poppins in. Yeah, Chad, bringing up the Slender Man stuff, I don't know. I think I missed stuff on the Slender Man. I guess I never really encountered something that was creepy that involved it. Other than I think people were already making fun of it by the time I saw it, so I never got super creeped out by it. Possibly maybe just not staying up late enough at night reading stuff. I think there were also like a couple games and stuff too. So 1 action for pop-ins to hop up here. 2 to go here, and then 3. Oh, it's this stealthy movement. He's gonna get automatically visible if he does that. So we're gonna need 2 actions to get through into that tile. So if he did 1, 2, let's save 1 and give him a +1. And then as a reminder, only on all these characters, only their top spot can be used by a +1. So you can never get more than an extra +1. Okay, so Poppins is ready to pop in there. Ooh, if Poppins goes in there and is left out to dry, nobody can help him except for Doog, because she can shoot any outdoor tile on her terrain. So I guess, right, and this medium tile, has to be moved onto stealthily, so we can't do it on this first turn. Ugh, that's tough. So if Doog goes 1, 2, we can't go to 3 without becoming visible and setting the alarm off. This is definitely rough. Okay, so Poppins has gone, Doog has gone. Move the German uniform tokens off to the side. Yeah, I think we just need to move everybody up into here. So give her a +1. Officer goes 1, 2. Give him a +1. And then our French medic, Totes gets +1. I think in a French pronunciation, his name would be Tote, I think. Like with the, but I have a feeling the other members of the commando unit call him Totes, and it kind of bugs them a little bit. That's my hunch. Okay, everybody's moved, done 2 actions. Everybody has +1 action tiles. Everything's fine. We're all fine. That action doesn't super matter. Now we're going to do reinforcement. Hey, Jeremy. Thanks for hopping on. I played this. I think I remember I played through the training missions and this mission when I got it, and I haven't managed to pull it out since. So I'm still kind of relearning it. So definitely pipe in if you have any ideas. Stealth tended to work in those training missions, but now the training wheels are off. And we've got a team out here. We've got the officer and the medic both have their silence weapons. The scout has the moving through walls ability, and the sniper has the shoot any outdoor tile ability. So I think I'm not planning on needing to set off the alarm, so hopefully we won't. Okay, so enemy reinforcement. Fancy dancy grizzled box here. Started this upper tile. Oof, we drew one of the special enemies. That's great. This one, it is one of the enemies with just the bolt action rifle, the single die. And then down here in the kitchen, it is one of the sledgehammer enemies that has 2 dice. Submachine gun on the back, sledgehammer in the hands. Okay, movement. Each enemy will go 1 tile towards the nearest visible commando. Luckily, nobody is visible. So since nobody is visible, they will move south. So we'll just go this way. And anybody that's not protecting a triangular token. So this one can't move south. They could move locked doors if there were one. These are all protecting. This one can move south. So we have here, and then that one is free but can't move south. So this is a lovely little hotspot. Yeah, so when the Kickstarter was up, I was they had a pledge manager, and it was really close to getting the 2 expansions, the secret weapons and the resistance expansion. And I didn't because I wanted to try the base game first. And I did really enjoy it, but I wanted to play this more before getting the expansions. But no, it's really good. It's very smooth in terms of I like how smooth it is in terms of how controlling the enemies works and doing movement. It lets you focus more on the puzzle of the game rather than which individual tile do I move an enemy. It's more just like there's 8 enemies in this tile. It's bad. But yeah, no, I definitely dig it. And one thing I noticed looking on BGG, there's not really much English video content for it, and I think probably because it's mostly retail available in Canada and Europe. So hopefully when this gets posted to BG, it's a little rambly and long, but maybe some people will get a kick out of it. Okay, so let's see. That was movement. Shooting, nobody is visible, so we'll skip shooting, and then check for victory. Everybody isn't dead. We're not out of enemy tokens. That we didn't totally screw something up. So next round, I will untap everybody because I need to do that or I lose track. And then new event. Okay, so this is one of the events that has... There's 2 things. One, if the alarm isn't triggered, and one, if it is triggered. So during this turn, the alarm is not triggered after the first explosion. So we actually don't have any explosive equipment, so we can't take advantage of that. And that icon means enemy movement is randomized, I think. Okay. So yeah, if there's that splotchy, there's a splotchy symbol on the bottom of this card. We don't know what the enemy movement is going to be until the enemy movement phase, and then we'll draw a new card and resolve the movement on that. All right. Oof. Okay, so Poppins can move into here and attempt to sabotage the objective. If that doesn't work, if Poppins tries to leave, Poppins is going to get hit with 5 dice. And the only way to try to save him would be our sniper using the Springfield, which can do a long-range shot on any outdoor tile. Oof. But it's just going to get more crowded on that tile. Yeah, I don't think they have a US distributor. I think I checked on their website. I know they have a European distributor and you can get it on their website. But yeah, this definitely seems like something that could do well with US distribution. All right, yeah, the hard part of picking who to activate. I think we got to move people into this medium tile. And nobody's got line of sight into that. All we can do is the lucky sniper shot if Poppins is in trouble. And then try to move him back. And we can also move the officer and the medic. We can go 1, 2, and then 3 into this tile. I think let's try it and see if this works. So Poppins is going to stealthily move to a large tile, which is a special action for 2 actions. So that was 2 out of the 3 actions. And then let's roll 2 dice and then hope we don't get spotted. Again, not the best odds. 3 and a 2. Okay. Whoop. First turn of the game, we got spotted. Also, I realized that did trigger the alarm right away, and we're extra far from the alarm. So that might have been very, very bad. But so it was 2 actions. Poppins has 1 and a +1 left. And we're visible anyway. We might as well try to shoot one of them and then try to make it back into one of these rooms. Which will make us stealthy again, although the alarm will still be going off. So we've only got 1 die, but let's try to shoot this special enemy. We're looking for a 2+, and we rolled a 1. So our shot didn't work. We're now at 3, so we don't have to keep activating him because he's had 3 things. We can either try to run away and get shot by everybody on the tile we're going to, or we can try to shoot one and hope somebody else gets it. I think our best chance, I think we should activate the sniper. Yeah, this is not going well. For 2 actions, long range shot on any outdoor tile on the terrain. Do 1, it's a 5. So we do take the enemy out, and they do go back to the enemy reserve. So that special enemy is going to stay in distribution. So it was 2 actions on the sniper. But because we used 2 actions for that, we can't move stealthily into the barracks here. I think it would be better just to stay. I don't think it would be better to get visible. Or we have 2 actions left. We could go here and then get stealthy again in this room. Yeah, actually, so let's get visible by moving into here. That's our 3rd action. And then as our 4th, we can use the +1 to hop into that small room. Because yeah, the alarm's already triggered. Why not? We're running through the barracks at breakneck speed. So with that note, we don't need to move stealthily through the barracks. So let's move. Oh, the officer also has the assault action. All the commandos on his train may immediately perform 1 free shot if I use 2 actions. So we could go 1, 2 with the +1, and then spend 2 actions to give everybody a free shot. That might save our bacon. So let's move 1 into this terrain to be visible. Use the +1 to move back into this terrain and be stealthy again. Our medic's not going to get a shot if we do this. Oh, darn it. I should have moved the medic up. Okay, well, I did that out of order. What I should have done is move the medic to here, and then when I use the assault, the medic also would have been able to shoot. So, that was a bummer. That was my fault. But, so let's see, that was 1, the +1, so these are 2 actions, so that's 3 for him. So I get a shooting attack, and then everybody else on the shooting attack gets 1 free shot. So it's 2 dice. He's going to attack the soldier in the machine gun nest. Not great odds, but we're rolling 2 dice. We got a 4 and a 5, so we did get it. That enemy goes back to the reserve. Ho, ho, ho. Now we have a machine gun. All other enemies may perform 1 attack. The sniper cannot. Oh, actually, I messed this up. The sniper should have been visible when we fired our long-range shot at any outdoor tile. So she should have been visible anyway. But that does give the scout a free shot. And we've only got the 1 die, but it's a 2+, so hopefully we will take out this trooper in front of us. It's a 6. We do take him out. Thank goodness. And we can use his +1 token to move through a wall into this room and get stealthy again. We could have moved to the medium tile, but it's probably better in that one. Okay. And then our sniper, there's really nothing we should do with this +1 other than move into this one room. They're stealthy again. And then only our medic, Totes, is left to activate. We've got 3 actions, a med kit, and a +1. I think enemies won't be able to move into a room if it's full. And let me double check that. Yeah, if the destination tile already contains the maximum number of characters, the enemies won't move into it. So if we actually get the medic in here, if the enemies move east, they won't move in to us. You know, I kind of wish Poppins was able to do that objective, but I think it's probably better that we all get stealthy and save our bacon. Okay, so the alarm's already going, so let's just get visible. So that's 1 action to move into the medium tile, which makes us visible. And then 2nd action to move onto here and get stealthy again. And we have 1 action and a free 1. There's no reason to leave that door locked because it doesn't protect us from them. So we could do 1 shot to unlock it. Or we could move on to the machine gun space. So this is interesting. In the reinforcement step, enemies are going to stack up outside of here. So we may not actually just want to shoot a bunch in here because then they're going to hop in here. Cool. See you, Nervenstein. Thanks for hopping in. Thanks for watching and playing and checking it out. And enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy being off work. Okay, so it was 1, 2. 2 actions left. I wish I had an extra action to disable that alarm, but I think we're just going to get two rounds of alarm. Yeah, I think having a +1 token seems handy. Oh no, we want to stay in this room to prevent them from moving. That's right. Oh, actually, if they move in, they can get stealthily attacked, can't they? Which doesn't require shooting. Decisions. Well, yeah, let's... Oh, actually, you know what? Pop-ins can open the door too. We don't need to use the silenced gun, but medic's also not going to do a whole lot of good in the machine gun. So let's just shoot the door open as our third, and then we'll save the +1 for next turn. So everybody else is maxed out. Okay, we're gonna draw and place an enemy, 2 enemies now on each tile because the alarm is blaring because Poppins did screw that up by running into that tile. So we'll draw 1, special enemy, and a 0. 0 gets removed from the game, and we add a new special enemy into here. Let's do this tile. Enemy with the submachine gun, another enemy with the submachine gun, and then into the kitchen, we're going to draw an enemy with a rifle, and then this one is going to get stacked up outside. It's another enemy with a rifle. Okay, movement. Because the movement token was a red one, we're going to draw a tile. It's another red, so we always ignore this event. We're just going to draw until we get one. North. Ooh. Eine Katze, which is a cat. I've learned from Duolingo. The enemy lets down their guard. If the alarm is silent, discard up to 3 spotted tokens from the equipment reserve. Oh. You know what? Darn it, that's a rule we haven't been doing. It wouldn't have mattered. Or actually, no, we haven't. Have we done any stealth attacks yet? There was that attack. Then there was this one. Those weren't stealthy. But that one would have been. So we should have drawn an equipment token. Let's see, what was the rule for it? Basically, if we kill an enemy, we draw a token, and if it's spotted, that's bad. After eliminating an enemy unit stealthily on their tile or adjacent ones, the commander becomes visible if the enemy is replaced by a spotted token and another enemy unit is present. Anyway, there's a German uniform on that tile, and then we should have put 2 on this tile. So it would have been TNT and a spotted token. Spotted token just goes back to the reserve. Oh no, they go to a discard. But yeah, those were the only 3 enemies, I think. So everybody else was there. Okay, that's a good roll to remember. Dave asks if this game has nothing to do with the vampire board game V Wars. No, this is I think someone in chat checked. The V stands for victory because it's a World War II themed game, so it's not related to, I guess, V Wars, which would probably be Vampire Wars. But that does make me think. I think there's some like weird Cthulhu type stuff in there's the Heroes of Normandy game, which never really struck my fancy, but there's, I think, a Shadows over Normandy and a bunch of like weird occult, possibly vampire Cthulhu related stuff. Maybe not vampire. So that actually could be an interesting expansion for this. If the V-Commandos are maybe, undead vampires. Yeah, we're on Jersey Island in the English Channel, actually, in 1942. I digress. Oh yeah. Triangle tokens do get guarded by enemies, but not special enemies. So this enemy should be guarding that tile, which means they won't move. Okay, yeah, new turn. Everybody is untapped. Oh yeah, Heroes of Normandy would definitely. No, I was just thinking in terms of like weird, like alternate World War II, because this is like straight World War II. But I know the Shadows of Normandy was that kind of like weird, sort of occult stuff. I think wasn't there like there's something that was called Octung Cthulhu, but I don't remember what that was. But yeah, the Devil Pig, they put out yeah, they're doing a Warhammer 40k basically reskin / reimagining of Heroes of Normandy, and they had a small 2-player like Ziploc packed game that or version of their huge big box that I pre-ordered, so I'm interested to see how that goes. Yeah, we're liberating the island of Jersey, I think, is the... Or we're not liberating it, we're just going and getting intelligence off the island of Jersey. Oof. Alright, that alarm needs to be taken out. There is a German uniform there, which we can use to disguise to get invisible again. To get stealthy again. That room is full of Germans, which we could shoot them, hit the objective, and barricade that entrance. That seems like a good idea. And then also we need to take the alarm out. Pretty much. All right, well, let's see. Doog, the sniper, could go 1, 2. Hopefully pass her stealth check, and then close combat. That just doesn't seem like a good plan, because we would also have to do the alarm. The medic could technically do it. We would go 1, 2... Or actually, someone could go into this tile, shoot them, and then someone else could go in and disable the alarm. So that might be the way to do it. So medic moves in, medic shoots. Wastes an action, I guess. Oh, medic could go in, shoot, and then shoot. Save an action, so let's do that. Medic moves here. We're not going to use the MG. That German uniform, we might need to do that objective, actually. And then let me just double check the rules on the uniform. So German uniform just means you can be stealthy regardless of the size of the tile. Treat all tiles as if they were small ones. So that is probably our lucky ticket into getting in here. But okay, so that was 1. Let's shoot the one guarding the alarm. So that's 2 stealthy. Yeah, it definitely seems like a thin plot that we have that we're trying to get intelligence off. I didn't know much about the island, but yeah, I guess if it's more of a tax haven than having intelligence, definitely thin plot dressing. Okay, so it was 2 2s on this tile. We need a 4, so our first shot failed. We can either go after the special enemy or do it again. I say we do it again because that's the plan. So 2 dice, trying to get a 4+ because it's a small tile. 2 1s. Okay. All right, that's not great. Oof. That was a tricky thing to do. So yeah, one interesting thing about the uniform is it just lets you enter a large or a medium tile stealthily as a single action. If I was wearing the uniform and I tried to sneak up on this person, it wouldn't work, and we would still trigger the alarm if I failed the stealth check. Also, this tile only has 3 spaces now. Let's move the officer in. I guess medic activated. So officer, first one. 4 and a 5. We got it. Okay, so that enemy goes back to reserve, and we actually do a piece of equipment this time. Remembering that. It's a crowbar! Okay. So that was 1 action, 2. 3 would put us on that tile, but would not let us turn the alarm off. So we're going to need somebody else to do that. Probably our sniper. Yeah, and then that'll do 3. Let's see, enemies are moving north, so she'll be safe. So we'll go 1 into the free spot on the machine gun. 2, still stealthy because there's nobody there. And then 3 to disable the alarm. So it was the first time we did that. The only time we can do it. And the next time the alarm goes off, it'll be permanent. So that was 3 for Doog, the sniper. Oh shoot! Our officer did 1, 2, and then shot. So we should have saved an action on him. And actually, if he was going to use an action, it would probably be to shoot the special soldier. So let's actually just do that now. Use the 1 action to shoot the special soldier. It needs a 2+ because it's a large tile. Man, that does make it a lot easier. We got a 4 and a 1. So the 4 does it. They go back to the reserve. And then draw. There's a Sturmgewehr 44 laying on the ground. Okay. So the alarm is off. Everybody is stealthy. Miraculously, none of the objectives are triggered. And Poppins, our scout, has the chance of picking up, let's see, could go 1, pick up the German uniform, put it on, 2, go into the large tile and stay stealthy, or just stealthily move onto the large tile directly. And then do the objective. Because we can, the scout can move through walls. Alright. So let's move stealthily to a large tile. We stay stealthy. And then let's do that objective. So we've done 1 document. I mean, maybe this is just tax sheltering advice, or maybe, yeah, maybe it's Gookie points out it's you know, codes or something like that. There's probably something interesting. Grocery lists. Okay, so that was 1, 2, that was 3. And we can pick up this equipment for free, which that's 0 cost actions each. We'll do that. So that's the scout's activation. Everybody's activated except for the medic who has a +1. I think probably a good idea to save the medic's +1. The medic also has a permanent ability. After using a first aid kit, roll a die. If it's 5+, we can keep the first aid kit. Otherwise, we discard it. Okay. So first we do the enemy reinforcement step because we finished all the commando actions. And we're back down to 1. Special again. Another special on this entrance, and then on this entrance, a non-special. And they are still stacked up outside of the door. Let me just double check. The enemy tokens awaiting outside the train will enter if possible during the following enemy reinforcement step. Oh! Okay, I definitely missed this rule. If enemy units enter by a tile containing stealthy commandos, the commandos must immediately perform this necessary stealth checks. Okay. I missed doing that rule before. I was wondering why this is maybe a little easy. Oh, it was hiding an example, and I missed the other. I missed wherever else it might have been. Okay, yep. Totally missed that rule. Totally missed that rule. If an enemy enters a tile with a stealthy commando, you do have to perform a stealth check. Okay. Not forgetting that. So this movement could be... Well, everybody should be fine. So we did reinforcements, then we do movement. There's no visible commandos, thank goodness. So they move north if possible. And we start from the top down to basically make more room. So we go... These commandos all move... Or these... the Germans all move north. Then these Germans all move north. Oof. And then these Germans enter. So, definitely a gathering. And then they shoot. There were no stealthy commandos in any of those tiles, so no shooting happens. Oh, darn it. We should have done a stealth check. For this one, and it's a 6. Okay, so pop-ins was not detected, but so from now on we have to remember to do stealth checks when enemies enter terrain with our units. Okay. That turn ended. Untap. Everybody. New event card. The alarm is off, so this is another event card that has both. No one's looking. During this turn, for each stealth check, commandos may reroll 1 die. Whoa. Okay. So we're gonna have a tough time getting to that objective. Also, enemies are gonna move east, which means nobody's moving anywhere. What are the rules on TNT? Because you know what? TNT charge that blows up eliminates the objectives, characters, and equipment tokens on the targeted tile. But we leave trapdoors. Yep. We just have to not blow up TNT on one of these don't destroy it tokens, because that fails the mission. Alright, everybody's stealthy again. We can't move on to that tile to do that objective. Unless we shoot them. Because the tile is full. Oof. Okay. I think what we're going to want to do is move the medic up. Shoot. And then move the officer up. And then the officer can use the assault action to give everybody a free shot. And then Poppins can attempt to get into this tile. So I think that sounds like a... Oof. Poppins doesn't have a stealthy weapon, though. We do not want to trigger the alarm again. Okay. Let's move the medic up. That's one action. Let's shoot into that tile. It's a 4+ again. These are definitely tough. Alright, 2 dice on a 4+. You got a 2 and a 4. So we take out one enemy, we choose who it is. I'm going to take out the special enemy. Back to the supply. That was the second action. For the third action, we get a 3 and a 2. So that whiffs. Okay, our medic is activated. Let's move the officer up. So as a first action, Second action, let's shoot into that tile. 4 and a 4. That takes out 2 more. Back to the supply. Okay. This is definitely better. This is the second action. We can't do that 2-action thing because we only have 1 left. So let's use our last action to shoot in again. 2 and a 2. So that missed. So our officer is tapped out. I think we should use the medic's saved +1 that we had to shoot into that tile again. 4 and a 4. Okay, we did get it. Back to the reserves. The medics and officer, or Totes and Skippy, have fired. And they've used all their actions. But Duke could move in there and do that objective. We also have a crowbar there that somebody should pick up in that German uniform. The German uniform will help somebody get through that tile stealthily, although we really just need to run to the exit when we get a chance. So we could go 1. Could open that locked door with the crowbar. But we could go 1, 2, and then as a 3, maybe save an action. Yeah, that is a lot of enemies. Yeah, let's pick up the crowbar. So we don't want her using the rifle, so using her crowbar is good. So that's 0. 1 moves into here. 2 uses the crowbar to unlock the door, and then 3 saves a +1. Or we could try to get back at this objective through the bottom. That actually seems smarter. So, I guess assuming we still have the crowbar, let's 1, 2 do the objective. And then 3 move back. And we'll leave that locked. So that's her. And then all we've got left is Poppins. Poppins passed his stealth check, so Poppins should take out that special enemy. Yeah, it's free. We're stealthy. We'll do that. So that's 1 action for Poppins. 2, we move stealthily onto this tile. We could plant C4 and then when all the enemies chase us when we're visible, detonate the C4 on that tile. And yeah, Poppins doesn't need the German uniform anyway. So it was 1, 2. I should probably just do a +1 action. So 3, and that'll be Poppins. Okay, I think that's it. We'll do enemy reinforcement phase. Oh, I forgot. For each stealth check, commandos may reroll 1 die. Ooh. Yeah, let's not risk it anyway. But let's put 1 in this tile. This bolt action rifle. Over here, he's going to stack up outside because there's no room. Another bolt action. And then in this tile, we have a special enemy with the machine gun in the last objective. All right, that was enemy reinforcement. We do movement, which is east. Start from the eastmost. All of these can't move, but this enemy will move, and he'll move onto the special weapon, which is not great. That actually kind of blocks our exit. And then shooting, we'll shoot any visible commandos. There are none. So, new turn. Everybody is active again. New event is Movie Night. During the enemy reinforcement step, any new regular enemy unit entering the terrain is placed back in their reserve. Wow. Okay. Apparently they're all gathering for Movie Night then. Or maybe Movie Night would be elsewhere instead of here, but yeah. Okay. You need to get that objective. There's 3 enemies there. And there's an enemy here, which is in the machine gun. Probably means we should... Yeah. I think we're going to need to shoot that enemy and then fight our way down here. Our scout does have a many die firing weapon, a 3 die firing Sturmgewehr. So he could shoot into the kitchen, I guess. Someone else isn't going to be able to get to the objective, though, but let's see. He does have a +1 action, so there's a chance. But let's get some other people down here. Okay. Let's have the medic shoot. It's a 5+. It's not worth triggering the alarm over to try to sneak into that. Tile. Yeah, I still haven't seen Inglourious Bastards. I've heard it's been highly recommended, but I have not actually seen it. Alright, medic is going to shoot his Sten. Got a 2 and a 1. That was a failure. His first action. Second action, 3 and a 6. Back to the reserve. And we drop a tile. It is a spotted tile. If there were another enemy on this tile, they would spot us, but there isn't. So I think I should have put a whole bunch of equipment tokens there, and I didn't, but that's fine. Okay, so this just gets discarded because it doesn't apply. So it was second shot. Third one is we can move the medic down here. Alright, then the officer is not going to be able to use his assault action, so we might as well move him down here and then shoot through the open door. Open doors don't block terrain, pretty darn sure. Yeah, not blocked by a wall or a locked door. So we can go 1 tile, 2 tile, 3 to shoot in there. So let's do that. 1, 2, and then 3, 2 and a 6. This is a 4+, so we'll use the 6 on the special enemy. Okay, so officer's done. I kind of think we just need to smash and grab. The scout could... Let's see, the sniper could go 1, 2... Fire. But that's only one. It's only 1 die. can't hurt though, and it gets us down here. So yeah, let's activate the sniper next. Oh, it's going to trigger the alarm. But we need Poppins to do the objective and then come back. So Poppins needs at least 2 actions. I think we, so to speak, have to bite the bullet and trigger the alarm on this. And actually the sniper's not going to become visible when we do this, so let's go 1, 2. I think actually the medic needs to pick up the German uniform, which is a 0 action. We can do it in between. So then the sniper, 3rd action is we are going to shoot once into that room and trigger the alarm. It's a 4, so we do get 1 enemy. And we do trigger the alarm, but we don't become visible. Using a single rifle through the door. Okay, only Poppins is left. If we pass the stealth check, we can just do that action. So, oh, oops, the alarm triggered, so all of these are gonna do 2 enemies. I say we just try to stealth it. So let's move in. It's only 1 enemy now. It's a 6. We passed the stealth check. Thank goodness. Okay, so as a first action, second actions, we can pick that up. Third action is we can come back here. And we do still have a +1. And nobody's visible, actually, because only Poppins has weapons that when they fire make him visible. Actually, then when Poppins was in here, Poppins should have just barricaded that door with the +1. Go back in time a little bit. Okay. That door is barricaded. Nobody's visible. Everybody's acted. Enemy reinforcement step in. Any regular enemy unit entering the train is going to be placed back in the reserve. So we'll do this one. This is going to be 2. These both get placed back in the reserve. This one, which is full, gets 2. It's 2 enemy units that gets placed back in the reserve. This movie night is saving us. And then this one. Oh, you know what? I forgot again. There was an enemy that got shot in here when he was around, and it was a med kit. Okay, it was not. If it was a spotted token, the person who shot would have been visible. So again, keep forgetting that rule. And then we do 2 here, and that is a regular enemy, and then this 0 means that we put another special in the reserve. I think we're basically okay. We're going to do, movie night, we're going to do movement. It's west. So they are going to move west, and this one is going to move into our space. These ones can't move west. So this is the only one that moves. So we're going to move in here. And then let me see the rules for the stealth check. I think every commando is going to need to make a stealth check. Okay. Similarly, when 1 or more enemy units enter a tile, any stealthy commando on that tile must perform a stealth check. Okay. I have screwed up this rule all night. But each commando is going to roll a die for the enemy that moved in. So we'll do Doog first. It is 3. Doog is fine. We'll do Skippy, the officer. Skippy rolled a 2. Skippy is visible. And then we'll do Poppins. Poppins rolls a 6. Poppins is fine. Okay. now I understand how the enemies are a little more dangerous because you have to actually roll stealth checks when they enter your tile. Whoops. Although I don't think that hasn't happened yet this game, except for that one where somebody moved in and Poppins passed it. Okay, so that was enemy movement. Now we do enemy shooting. So a group of enemies shoots first a visible commando on their own tile, otherwise on an adjacent tile containing visible. So this whole group is going to fire, and then I believe I decide who takes the hit when there's multiple, and they're just going to roll 1 die, and then they hit on a 4+. 3! Okay. We're okay. But Skippy is still visible. Okay, so new the objective isn't completed because the objective isn't completed and there's still commandos on the train. We have to get all commandos off the train even though we've done the objective. Alright, this is Was ist das? Move 1 enemy unit onto an adjacent tile containing a stealthy commando. If every commando on this tile performs a successful stealth check, or if one of them uses a +1 action token, the enemy is eliminated. I have no +1 action tokens left because I didn't save Poppins's. And let's see, these aren't... Is this an adjacent tile? Yeah, this is an adjacent tile, so even though it is blocked by a wall, I still have to move 1 over. So I'm going to move that over. This one can't accept any more enemies. Let me make a stealth check. Oops. It's a 4. We're okay. The enemy is eliminated because every commando performed a successful stealth check. Okay, new round, and the enemies are going to move west again this time. These 2 commandos can perform a stealth attack against the new enemy. Our officer cannot. So let's do that. Let's have the sniper perform a stealth attack, taking them out. And then we do an equipment token, and it is a grenade. Alright, now all we gotta do is get out of here. So Poppins can stealthily move to a medium tile. So Poppins can actually go 1... Oh, that would make him visible, but that's probably fine. He could go 1, 2... See, the alarm's triggered. 1, 2, 3. So that would get him out of here. So let's do that. We'll activate him last. So yeah, let's get into the final bits. Our sniper can go 1, we're visible, 2 onto the small tile, and then 3 onto that final tile. Our medic, we can use the German uniform. Oh, which is using equipment. Do we want to do that? Because otherwise it'll be 1, 2, 3. No, he'll get... We don't need to do it because he'll go 1, 2, he's visible, 3. Yeah, luckily we haven't had any reaction fire moving onto or off of a tile with enemies really yet. So the medic is gone, our sniper is gone. Poppins can also go stealthily onto the medium tile, 2, 3. And then our officer can go 1, 2, stealthily, or moved onto a small tile, and then 3. Okay. Oh yeah, Mel Gibson was totally X something in Lethal Weapon, and I can't remember what it was. I don't remember how much they went in. I think it probably came out later in the movie. Yeah, I can't totally remember. Okay, everybody's activated enemy reinforcement step. Normal enemy reinforcement, and it's the alarm. So we'll do 2 enemies on this tile. 2 enemies on this tile. This one will move in, and then we'll get 2 more. They'll hang out outside. And then this is barricaded, and we'll do 2, which is a special enemy and a not. And then we do movement, which is west. They can't move west. They can't move west because there's a wall. They're not on the map yet. And shooting, no commandos are visible. And then everybody activates again, and we do a new event. We've got company. Permanently remove 3 regular enemy units picked up from the enemy reserve. German command sends elite troops in the area. Okay. So we're taking regular units out of the reserve so the elites are more likely to come up. That's tricky. And enemy movement will be south, but I think we're okay because Poppins can move out. Our medic totes can go 1, 2 as a second action and move out. Duke the sniper can go 1 and out, and then Scipio officer can go 1 and then out. And then I believe a terrain is completed once his last objective is completed and no commando remains on the terrain, so we don't finish the rest of the turn or anything. Then we flip the terrain card to its completed side. And then this is the completed art. So we have completed that terrain. And then so interestingly, if this was a multi-terrain operation, they could have exited through this trapdoor. Or if they exited through a trapdoor in a previous turn, they could pop up in the new terrain in that next turn. So you could have people leave early, and then as soon as this is completed, commandos could pop up in the next terrain. So that is super cool. Okay, and then there's a thing about completing an operation. But the operation success, all objectives of all terrains have been completed, and 1 commando got alive through the last terrain. So Operation Green is completed, and we got the 3 documents, whether broken codes or secret tax evasion stuff. We got them out. Everybody survived. We missed a couple rules a couple times, especially the one about enemies entering a terrain with stealthy units, and the stealthy units need to make a spotted check. That, I think, probably would have ended our tutorial missions early. Yeah, definitely forgot that one, and then also forgetting to drop the equipment tiles. I think we got most of them for this. But when we were shooting the 4 enemies here, it's probably likely that one of them, because if you look in the mix, there's a lot of these spotted tokens, so it's probably pretty likely one of them would have popped up with something, and then the shooter would have been visible, which would have triggered the alarm. So we probably survived because I missed those rules. Oh yeah, Martin Riggs was Mel Gibson's character in Lethal Weapon. I think I just remembered Danny Glover yelling Riggs. That sounds familiar. But yeah, I guess long stream over almost 4 hours. Thank you for sticking with it. I know I messed up a bunch of rules. But yeah, I guess I will do some final thoughts. Tiff is happily asleep and the dogs are snuggling her, so all is well. Let's see. I don't know. This is, I think, probably the second time I've attempted this scenario. and even getting some rules wrong, I really like how smooth it is. I know there's other games that have there's other games that are the similar players. The human players control individual characters, and the game controls the game system's enemies. There's some other games out there. I recently picked up Galaxy Defenders, which I'm stoked to play, but that is one that also has similar area, or it has larger hexes for area movement, but each enemy has a different type of AI. And I've heard that the scenarios in that can go pretty long. So I'm definitely expecting that to be longer and more plotting than this. And then another comparison is, I mean, just because of sort of the smoothness of the enemy movement, they all kind of behave the same. They're just rolling dice and moving around one tile at a time. It just has a nice, World War II, more of an action movie feel, I think, than like a war game, of which I also enjoy. But it has a great feel, and it feels pretty smooth, and I really feel like I'm trying to solve the tactical puzzle, rules mistakes aside, rather than trying to remember the minutia of like which enemy activates when or what does what. So that definitely helps focus more on the game. There's a Rambo game coming out. Oof. It's funny, that original First Blood Rambo movie definitely had a totally different feel than the second two, of which I've only seen parts of, and then there was also the fourth Rambo movie, which I barely remember. But I don't know, I'm curious what the Rambo game is going to be like, but I'm imagining it's more, I don't know, I'll look it up, but I'm curious what that would be like. Kabuki asked if I've played Ambush. I have not played Ambush. I think it's been like in and out of print a lot over the years. Two that I have played are Airborne Commander, which was a candidate actually for tonight's stream, which is, I think, at Stratamax in the UK. Sort of is. Sorry. Alright. So somebody locked their car outside, which beeped their horn, which set the dogs off. They're a little extra barky because Tiff's asleep but not feeling well. Yeah, you're
Now.
okay. Oof. Yeah, one sec. Tiff needs another pill. Yeah, I've heard good things about Ambush, and I've definitely wanted to try it. I know it's pretty tricky. Yeah, that would be one I would be interested in checking out if I can borrow a copy from someone. But yeah, Airborne Commander is also kind of a small unit deck builder, which plays pretty quickly. I think I remember hearing Ambush took could be kind of longer. Not that that's a bad thing. But I also have Fields of Fire, which is uses a deck for resolutions and cards to build the map as a single player commanding a company of army infantry. And that can definitely, scenarios can take like 3 to 12 hours. I think I only ever played one scenario of it. But that one needed fan rules rewrites for the earlier edition, for the first edition on Board Game Geek. But yeah, those are both similar or solitaire games in a similar vein. But yeah, I'd forgotten that Ambush existed, so I might see if I can look that up. Fields of Fire did get the reprint. Awesome. I remember, I know the designer was working on a version with the Marines, following the Marines through World War II, Korea, and Vietnam. But yeah, that reprint was on the P500 for a real long time. So that is awesome that the reprint got out, because that is a solid game. Hopefully I think the rules got a lot of feedback from people looking at it, so I'm really hopeful with the reprint the rules are better written. So hopefully I'll be able to download those and print it out and give it a try. Yeah, I think hopefully I probably won't need to get the second edition of it, because I have the first. Hopefully it's just new rules. But yeah, anyway, as an aside, this was V-Commandos. I need to let the dog out, which is the slight borkin you hear. But yeah, I don't know. I enjoyed it. Triton Noir did a good job. They also ran a pretty solid Kickstarter campaign with lots of updates. The game is bilingual English and French. All the Kickstarter updates were English and French. So that was super cool that they just handled it, flawlessly in both languages. Yeah, solid game. I definitely want to play one of the longer operations. Probably not on stream. I know it would take me a little bit to struggle through. But yeah, if one of those is up to 3 hours, that would be quite a long stream. But yeah, thanks for hanging out through the training missions and while I sort of struggled to relearn the game and then through one of the actual operations. Let's see, the Ambush custom card upgrade deck. All right, well, I'm going to look up some stuff about Ambush, I guess, and see how that goes. Printed by the Game Crafter. All right. I'll look that up. In the meantime, thank you so much for watching. This was definitely a lot of fun. It definitely sucks that Tiff is down for the count, but she is feeling somewhat better without a gallbladder. Well, you're not... Okay, well, you're horizontal. You're not on stream. You're... Yeah. But, so, I should be back on Tuesday playing Nemo's War, possibly with John. So keep an eye out for that. Kabuki says to rest up. And I guess, yeah, that will be the next stream. If you are watching this live, thank you for watching live and sticking with it. If you were watching after the fact, thank you for making it through. Definitely let us know what you think down in the comments. I know I probably got a bunch of rules wrong. I definitely still had fun. I think it might have been a little easier because not all the rules were right. But it was fun playing. It was fun naming all the characters with everybody in chat. Yeah, definitely enjoyed it. I'm going to play Nemo's War over the weekend, so it is fresh in my memory. Hopefully if John joins us, John also played our copy when we were out for the holidays. So both of us should be somewhat fresh. And Tiff and I also both watched 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, so we're thematically fresh too. But yeah, I guess until next time, I will hit the stream. Kabuki, I'm glad you liked the stream. Hopefully if you do pick this up, you enjoy it. There's definitely more than enough in the base game. There's I know I had some of the Kickstarter upgrades, but there's the 5 characters and then a bunch of operations and terrains, so there should be more than enough to keep you busy even without the expansions, which are apparently good. But yeah, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week. Bark.